Plenty to scream about, like the buttery stone-fired crust, secret recipe tomato sauce, mounds of whole milk mozzarella, and tons of premium toppings. Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's freezer and find out for yourself why Sport called Screamin' Sicilian's Holy Pepperoni Frozen Pizza the best of the best. Screamin' Sicilian, taste what all the screamin' is about.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority with the latest technologies at their state-of-the-art Brookfield office. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. And now, Holtebeck Eye Center is excited to add Dr. Nausheen Abbas to their team. Dr. Abbas is an ophthalmologist and cornea specialist that is now available to see patients. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol, learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
At Cousin Subs, the bigger your smile, the better we feel. That's why our menu features something for everyone, like our Wisconsin cheese curds, golden fries, creamy shakes, and mac and cheese, all paired with your favorite sub or our subs in a bowl. And don't forget our kids' meals, now with a free cookie. Here's to a better day. Cousin
You're listening
Subs.
to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Party people!
It's time to get this tailgate started and get you ready for the green and gold game. This is Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. Now broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside Gabe Neitzel, ESPN legend John Anderson, and green and gold legend Bryan Bulaga. Here's Alex Strouf.
Away we go, the biggest game of the year, we say, for the fourth or fifth time this year. It's Green Bay Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, with you ahead of Packers-Vikings, Week 17 already in the NFL season. Packers and Vikings have both already clinched their spot in the postseason, but still some playoff things on the line today for the Vikings, more so than the Packers. But the Packers definitely don't want to fall to that 7 seed, so a win today would certainly treat them nicely in that category. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All studio at the Avenue, beautiful downtown Milwaukee, alongside my friend Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on ESPN Milwaukee. What's up, Gabe? Happy game day.
What's happening? I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but also very excited for the Packers' opportunity that they have in front of them.
Yeah, so as we've talked about many times before with me, I go up and down, man. And the way this Packers team has played the last few weeks, oh, baby, am I feeling really good right now about going into Minnesota. And I know you sent me a couple stats this week on, like, 80% of the resales are Packers fans. Like, there's going to be a decent invasion at US Bank Stadium today. So that's exciting. Let's go to John Anderson next. The professor joins us of SportsCenter and Wipeout fame. Also a Green Bay native like myself. Also a little bit up and down like myself. But that's just because we're fans. John, how you feeling today? Because I feel great. Uh-oh. Always fun. Hold on, John. We're getting the audio reconnected. So we'll work on that. We'll go to Bryan Bulaga, the future Packers Hall of Famer, the Super Bowl champion, the former first-round draft pick of the Green Bay Packers. Bryan Bulaga, this team is playing really good football. I am in a very good headspace. Here we are 3.5 hours ahead of kickoff. Am I in the right headspace?
Well, you sound like you're in a lot better headspace than you were before the Seattle game.
That is correct.
I'll give you that. Like, you sound a lot better, which is good, right? That's a good thing. And there's plenty of reasons to be very optimistic about this team going to Minnesota. I mean, they're playing really good football at this point in time, which is a good thing. We want to see as we get closer to the playoffs. I mean, I read a a stat yesterday, which kind of took me by surprise, that Jordan Love, which is really good going into a game like this because of how much Minnesota pressures, right? I mean, I think they pressure the most out of any team in the NFL. I think Flores comes after the quarterback or sends more than 4 guys at the quarterback, which is considered a pressure more than any team in the NFL. That Jordan Love has only been sacked 7% of his dropbacks when pressured, which is the least amount in the NFL. So what that tells you is that the O-line is really good at picking up pressures. Matt LaFleur does a really good job throughout the week of blitz pickup. Jordan Love is really good at identifying pressures and getting the team out of bad looks and making checks to the receivers. And the receivers are very smart at sitting down in open zone. So, like, the team's really good at identifying these things. So, against this Minnesota defense, that's something you need on the road when communication's not great. So, that's a reason why I'm very excited to watch how they work on the road against this team. So, I'm very optimistic about it. I'm excited to watch them work. I think it's going to be a tough game. They're very evenly matched. If we've seen the way Minnesota's been playing and we see how Green Bay's been playing, I mean, I think what Green Bay does really well, I think Minnesota does it really well too. So, like, if you look at the way Green Bay's been trending, they've been kind of doing a good job against the pass, right? That's something that they weren't too good at to start the season when they first saw Minnesota. They've been getting better at it now. Minnesota's still, offensively throwing the ball really well. That's something that, with those 2 wide receivers and the tight end and the way Darnold's been playing, that's a big strength, right? So we'll see how our defense does against it. And then on the flip side, for us offensively, Jordan Love's been playing some of his best football, right? And Minnesota does a really good job taking that type of power out of our quarterback's hands, right? They like to stop the pass and force defenses or offenses to run the football. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I think this is a huge test for Jordan Love because the numbers against, I mean, you mentioned the sack rate, but since the bye, he's been tremendous, completing passes against the blitz as well. But he has struggled in the second half the last couple of games when teams have kind of figured out how to slow down Josh Jacobs in the run game. And this Minnesota defense is number 2 in the league against the run. So that is something clearly they are going to be looking to take away, which is going to be an opportunity for Jordan Love to continue to shine against pressure the way that he has.
I'm thrilled with how he's been playing. Yeah. No, go ahead, Blue.
Well, I'm saying, like, what Jordan Love's going to have to do, and LaFleur's going to, and he knows this too, teams are going to start, and which kind of makes me excited about it too, teams are going to try to play Green Bay out of the run, right? They're going to try to bait the Packers into throwing the football, which I think is really dangerous because I think Love can throw it all over teams. And I think we got the wideouts and the tight ends that can throw it all over teams, which gets you into the playoffs in the scenarios you're making these defenses guess. Do you want to get beat by the run? Do you want to get beat by the pass? And that's got to be the mentality of our offense too, is that we can beat you anyway. And when you go into a game with the mindset of what do you want to take away from us because we can burn you with the other side of it, that's a dangerous offense, right? That's not an offense you really want to be a part of. There wasn't many offenses that I felt that we could do that. I knew we could beat you with the pass every single day. Like, it didn't matter if you knew you were going to stop it or you thought you could stop it. We were going to beat you with it anyway. There were games or teams that, like, hey, like, we know we can probably get 90 to 100 on you, depending on, the matchup. But, like, with this running back and kind of the way this group's blocking up front and kind of the mentality of it and how LaFleur's calling it, like, they can do both. So, like, I mean, I hope they try to impose their will in the pass game today. I hope they do it, and I hope Minnesota dares them to do it. And that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing.
John Anderson, how you doing, buddy? Feeling good?
I don't know. For a while, apparently, I was a mute, but I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm really, really, really good, John. I mean, as Bryan pointed out, I was really nervous about going on the road to Seattle, and they stomped them. And then they followed that up, and I get it. They were playing a JV version of an NFL team on Monday, but that was an unbelievable performance. 34-0 is still is super, super impressive. So yeah, I'm in a much better headspace than I was when we talked 2 weeks ago.
You talk about your roller coaster, right? You go from like 2s to 9s.
I do, yes.
And while I'm up and down, I go from like 4 to 6.
Yeah.
So Like, we're not quite the same. It's kind of like when you say we're both from Green Bay. Like, Denmark and Green Bay are two different places.
Well, I did grow up in Green Bay. I just went to school in Denmark.
I don't. Okay, you'll have to sort that out.
He's a Green Bay fraud. It's okay.
Oh. Yep, I know how it works. A lot of people from Ashwaubenon. Oh, from Green Bay.
Yeah. No, I get you there.
Anyway, I think this is the most important game of the season, not because if they win or lose it, they're in or out of the playoffs. If you can't go against a really good team and finally win a game like this on the road, then you can't go as far as you want to go in the playoffs. If you can't establish that you can go into a place that is, despite the resale market, hostile territory. You sent me the thing where you thought 23% of the crowd, or about a quarter of it, is going to be Packer fans. I'm like, I feel like that's a little low, right? Because the Vikings are 13-2. Otherwise, it'd probably be like 50-50. But if they can't go in and win this one, then there's no way they're going to win 2 or 3 on the road and get themselves all the way there. And I know those are high, lofty standards, but if the idea is we think this team can at least get to the championship game, and maybe beyond that, they're going to have to win a bunch of road games. And I don't think you can win enough of them if you can't come in here and win against this team. So I think it's hugely important in that regard that they've played well against some teams that are good, right? They hung in there week 1 against the Eagles. That was fine. They came back against this Vikings team. Great. They went right step for step with the Lions, but all those ended in the exact same thing. They didn't win. And so I think it's hugely important to put up a W so that they go, look, we're here. And we're not just competitive, that we can beat you on your place with our best anytime. Not
only that, John, you open yourself up to having that tough road right away. I'd much rather go to Atlanta or Tampa Bay or Los Angeles. You lose the game today, you open up yourself having to go to Philly in week 1 of the postseason.
Yeah. By the way, LA right now is not going to. LA right now is not a joke. I don't know. You want to really go back to that? How can we?
I was not terribly impressed with them yesterday.
Could the Packers win this? And then could they go ahead and beat the Bears? And could maybe the Lions or the Vikings, the Lions don't rest people, want to beat down the Vikings, and maybe they get to that South winner. That would be ideal.
Yes. Yeah, that would be the ideal path. But I will say, after watching Cardinals-Rams last night, I am much less scared of the Rams than I was 24 hours ago.
It's a really good defense.
It's a solid defense. Solid defense.
And
but
it wasn't that long ago.
He says with the idea that he could change that by 6 o'clock tonight.
Yes, that is correct. Yes. Yeah. Well, they don't play again, so probably not. But yes, I mean, if the Packers don't come out fast and they only score 10 points, right? You're right. It's a roller coaster ride, man.
I love how it's not taking that long for John just to completely dissect and know who you are as a Packers fan.
Yeah, no, I'm a roller coaster ride, man. Look, like this is reminiscent to me much more of 2010 than it is 2011, because 2011 we just knew that team was so damn good. And, we had the expectations of, okay, let's run this thing back, this offense. Aaron Rodgers is the best player in football, yada, yada. But 2010 was a little bit more, okay, what happened there? Oh, wow, that was fun. And then, obviously, we know what happened in 2010. Bryan Bulaga became the youngest person to ever start in a Super Bowl and ultimately win a Super Bowl. So, yeah, I don't know. This is one of those years where, and I was going to ask you guys this on a follow-up since we talked 2 weeks ago, we felt like we didn't know a ton about this Packers team. We think they're good. We didn't know how good. But now they have gone on the road to Seattle, won big, and then shut out the Saints on Monday Night Football. Despite beating mediocre to bad teams the last 2 weeks, it's been in dominant fashion. And it's been a team that looks like they could be peaking at the right time and really evolving into a true contender. And again, I get it. The teams they beat the last 2 weeks are not Minnesota good. They are not Detroit good. They are not Philly good. But the wins were really, really quality. And that's why I'm feeling much more optimistic today than maybe I was 2 weeks ago when they headed to Seattle.
Well, this would almost validate all of that, right? Yeah. Because if they lose today to Minnesota, it's like, okay, you beat bad teams. Who cares?
Yep,
you
correct.
beat teams that are not going to be in the playoffs. You beat a team that was barely trying in the New Orleans Saints on Monday.
Shut them out. Shut them out.
Yeah, sure. But
that's hard to do.
Sure. Like, I mean,
you don't seem so sold on that.
I mean, you were playing Spencer Rattler, man. Yeah, was the defense
They
good?
did what they were supposed to, though.
Yeah, they did what they were supposed to, but it means nothing if you don't back it up with a win today.
I tend to because nothing. No,
I mean, you could potentially be the 7 seed, and you're the Miami Dolphins of last year. You can't beat anybody good. Anytime you go, it's great when Miami scored 70 points against the Broncos last year. That was awesome. But anytime they played a playoff team outside of one time against the Cowboys a year ago, They lost those games. So it's great that you had the shutout in New Orleans. If you don't win the game today, I don't know how much nobody's going to be shaking in their boots. Like the Eagles aren't going to go, "Oh, they shut out Spencer Rattler. They got to come to our place." That's not going to mean they're scared. That's not going to mean this team, because the Packers are at a spot as a wild card team. They're not the best team in the league. They have to be like that 2010 team that Bulaga was a part of they're getting hot at the right time, and you're kind of maturing also at the right time. You lose today's game, I don't think they can go on the road and win 3 in a row to get to a Super Bowl.
I don't either.
And I don't know how much confidence that they would have.
Well, let me ask you this. What if they do what they did in Detroit a few weeks ago? They go in there, they hang with them, they lose on a walk-off field goal.
I feel the same way I felt after that game. Okay, you can play with anyone. Can you win against anyone?
Sure.
What he said.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Brian, Gabe just mentioned it, right? Like, it's a little bit reminiscent of that 2010 team because it's really young, and it seems like they are swinging in the right direction, peaking at the right time. Is that the way you evaluate it, with this being, again, the youngest team in the league and the way they've won despite it being bad teams the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think I only look at it a little differently from that 2010 team. Is that 2010 team had some veterans on it that we're looking at it now that are probably going to be Hall of Fame veterans, right? Like, you're looking at some of these guys. There's a good chance. I mean, one of them, Woodson, already has a yellow jacket.
Yeah, I was about to say, you had the reigning Defensive Player of the Year on the roster.
Yeah, that helped.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking like Nick Collins and guys you had some absolute studs that you looked at it like, hey, yeah, if some of these guys kind of get it together, they can do really well, right? And I'm not saying that there's not guys on this current roster that can't potentially be great players, but they're so young that we don't really know yet. Can they step up in these moments if they don't win this week and get that mental confidence that they can go against a really good team on their own and pop off 3 in a row? We don't know, but I don't want to say for a fact if they don't win today that they can't go to Philly, or say they get the 7th seed that they can't go to Philly and beat Philly. I'm not saying that they can't. That's not I don't want to go there with that right now, because I think they could, right? I'm not saying it's impossible.
You're not going to feel good about it, though. But that's the thing. Now you're using language of, well, it's not impossible. Could they do it? Sure, but it's the NFL. Any playoff team can beat anyone. That's not confidence. That's well, maybe we can do it.
Well, I mean, I think you look at listen. At the same time, at the same breath, we were the 7th seed last year, right? And did you feel amazing about going into Dallas last year?
No,
Not really, right? You didn't feel great about it, but they went into Dallas and absolutely put it on them, right? So, that's kind of the way you always feel about a 7 seed. You don't really know what you're going to get out of a 7 seed. And I tell you this, if we go in as a 7 seed this year, I feel a lot better going into a 7 seed this year than I did last year, because I feel a lot better about the team as a whole this year. So, but again, regardless, I'm with you and John on it, right? If they don't get the win today in a tough environment against I think, and I've been saying this for a while, when they were at 8 wins, when they were at 9 wins, against, I think, a really good team. I think Minnesota's a really good team,
yes.
and they've continued to prove it. And when they were at 8 wins, I said, you don't fake 8 wins. You don't fake those things. That thing, and then they got to 9, then they got to 10, and they're not pretenders at that point. They're a good team.
We just have to accept it. Everybody needs to accept it.
Yes, that's just the way it is, right? And you just got to live with it. And if you go in and you beat that team, the psyche and the mental advantage that gives you going into the playoffs is enormous. And I think if Green Bay's able to do that, and I think we're going to see a different team, obviously against Chicago, but I think going into the playoffs, you're going to see a different team, because that's kind of Captain America coming out with a different shield, right? That's how they're going to feel coming out with the different vibranium, or whatever they call that thing, the leather shield or the vibranium shield. That's what they're going to feel like going out into week 1 in the playoffs, because they haven't had that type of win all season. And then you get that almost right at the end of the season against a really good team. And that's the mental boost you need going into it. And I know LaFleur knows that too. Like, he gets it. He understands it. And like, and there's guys that know it on the team too, like the Kenny Clarks, and those guys get it too. They're more than aware of it. It's just trying to translate that to some of the younger guys and getting them to understand it. Like, hey guys, I know we were the 7th seed last year, but I promise you, it's better being the 5 seed than the 7 seed. Where we got to go and what we have to do, and how, and, But again, sometimes being young and not knowing is better, and then having scar tissue. But I think overall, I think they can go get it done today. I really do. I'm comfortable with them going to get it done today. I really. I mean, I'm not trying to give anything away for later on, but like, I feel good about it. I just do.
I mean, I'm with
Brian.
you.
First of all, Bryan Bulaga, Marvel nerd. Who knew?
Yeah, I did not know that. I did not expect that.
Nailing the vibranium.
Yeah, I've seen them all. I like them all. Yeah, that's something about it. I don't know what it is. I just I got.
Hey, I'm right there with you.
I've also seen them all, so I got to know within the Marvel universe, which is your favorite?
Oof. I mean, I think. I mean, I liked all the Captain Americas, right? Like, I mean, all the individual Captain Americas. Those were all great. I really liked. I mean, Endgame. The last Endgame one. I mean, that's just hard to beat.
Phenomenal
that one.
movie.
Like, it's really hard to like beat that one, and how that all comes full circle and how it ends. Like, obviously, it's amazing. I mean, there's a couple that I didn't love.
I feel this offseason we need to start up a Marvel podcast with Bulaga. Like, just kind of help pass the time this offseason, because they're going to be rebooting kind of everything here soon. And I think we need to break this down further.
Yeah, but I will say this: I've I liked early Hulk. I haven't liked the way Hulk's gone recently. So like, I want to see like Edward Norton Hulk more, and not like the way it's been going. I'll just say I'll just leave it at that. Like,
Okay, good. That was a lovely derailment here on Group Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Alex Strouf, John Anderson, Bryan Bulaga, Gabe Neitzel, hanging out with you. If the Vikings win today, it essentially sets up a win and you win the division and get the number 1 seed game next week for them against the Detroit Lions. Packers win and Lions win tomorrow. NFC North race is over. No implications in Week 18 other than where do you slot in the wild card? So a lot on the line for Minnesota today as they play host to the Green Bay Packers, who have scored 30-plus 5 weeks in a row. We'll continue to preview this one. Coming up next, it's Green Bay Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
More Green Bay Game Day coming up on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Ring in the holiday season with Carbless. Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Brad Nortman. 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 guilt. Carbless is gluten-free, just 100 calories, and is sure to give you that head start on any New Year's health resolution. You can go with fruity lemon or black raspberry flavors or a margarita variety pack. I know the cranberry flavor will find its way to every gathering for me this year. Make your holiday grocery list and check it twice. Be sure Carbless is on it. Let's toast to a full, festive, flavorful sip this December with Carbless. Less is more.
For over 4 decades, one name has stood out as a symbol of excellence in automotive sales and service. It's the Boucher Automotive Group, dedicated to providing exceptional experiences to all of our valued customers.
We will help you find the perfect vehicle within your budget while respecting your time.
With 20 convenient locations, we're the one-stop destination for all your automotive needs.
At Boucher, we're your trusted partner on every mile of your journey, riding with you every mile since 1977.
This holiday season, the Salvation Army needs your help. Bell ringers are working hard, and our service depends on generous donations like yours. Every dollar donated helps us provide meals, shelter, and emergency support to families in crisis, not just at Christmas, but all year long. From immediate need to long-term care, your donation can create lasting change in our communities. Join us in making a difference. Volunteer as a bell ringer or donate today. Visit salvationarmywi.org to learn how you can help.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
They treated me like family. They're actually people that you can depend on.
They made me feel seen. They really treated me like I was a part of their family, a part of their team.
They ask how you're doing, how you're feeling.
They're just so welcoming and so sweet and kind.
It's like family, caring about another member of the family.
If you've been injured, it costs you nothing to see if Gruber Law Offices can help.
Hey, it's Gabe Neitzel from ESPN Milwaukee's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. You know how much I love and trust X Golf with my golf game. Whether we're talking about Brookfield or Mequon, the state-of-the-art simulators, the custom golf clubs they can build, the lessons you can get from their PGA pros. Secretly, one of my favorite things is after my round. In fact, most Fridays, you can find me in Brookfield at the bar enjoying a nice cold drink, maybe having some of the food that they have from their incredible menu. This can happen for you too. Go to xgolfbrookfield.com or xgolfmequon.com to book your tee time today.
Refresh your home today with window images, blinds, and shades from Menards. We have everything you need to update your window treatments. We carry vinyl, aluminum, and faux wood blinds, cellular shades, and more. Get a white 23 by 48 room darkening cordless vinyl blind for $12.99. Plus, get them trimmed to width for free in store. Good through December 31st. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. It's simple. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. And again, you can win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
You're listening to Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Green Bay Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel, John Anderson, Super Bowl champion Bryan Bulaga hanging out with you. Leading you up to kickoff, Packers-Vikings, America's Game of the Week. No restrictions. This game is on nationwide, baby. Everybody gets a taste of Packers-Vikings.
Thank God. The NFL slate today,
not super pretty.
There are 2 good games. The Packers are one of them, then the other one's on Sunday Night Football.
That's correct, yeah.
It is Wolf City today.
It is, which is good. Everybody gets a good game at 325, or at least what we think will be a good game. Hey, Green and Gold fans, it's game day. Kick off your tailgate with Bacardi. Whether it's a Bacardi and Cola, lime and soda, or spiced in Cola, Bacardi is your game day go-to. Grab a bottle at your local retailer. Live passionately. Drink responsibly. Bacardi USA, Miami, Florida. Rum 40% alcohol by volume. Packers will be without Jair Alexander and likely without wide receiver Christian Watson today against the Minnesota Vikings, which is reminiscent of the last time the Packers played the Vikings. No Jair Alexander, and Christian Watson left that game early with an injury, finished the game with 0 catches. So we've seen this before, Gabe, but still, yeah, a little nerve-wracking without 2 stars on each side of the ball.
Well, especially because the way Christian Watson's been playing since the bye.
Right.
He has been the only one to go up over 100 yards since the bye. He's been such a big part with 387 receiving yards to lead the team. Nobody else over 200. Jaden Reed's been really inconsistent this season, especially in the second half. So that's a huge part of, you want to be able to take the top off the defense, especially if you can get that play, the run game going and take those play action shots to Christian Watson, which is why he's been such a big part. And then defensively, we know how good Jair can be against a guy like Justin Jefferson, and to not have him out there. I mean, the Vikings got up on this game 28-0 last time, and they took their foot off the gas and let the Packers back in. That's how dangerous that offense can be. They've got a lot of weapons there, and if you're not careful, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson can go off in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, that game back at the end of September, 31-29 final, was certainly not what that game was. It was 28-7 at halftime. The Packers scored 22 points in the fourth quarter, ultimately falling short 31-29, but it never really felt like they were back in that one, as it was just too big of a lead at halftime. Brian, I'm curious for you, this Jair Alexander situation, we've talked about it pretty much, every week, whether it be here on Green Bay Game Day or on the Homer Hour or Wilde and Tausch, wherever you appear. It's an interesting situation. Obviously, you'd love to have him back. The nice part is it seems like the Packers have figured themselves out, at least to a decent point in the defensive backfield to win without him. Do you lose any confidence? Because you're feeling very confident about this matchup. Do you lose any confidence without a stud corner like Jair in this one?
Yeah, I mean, you would. I mean, at least for me personally, I'd feel better with him out there, knowing that he does play pretty good against guys like Jefferson, right? I mean, I think his past has shown that against certain wide receivers and high end wide receivers, he rises to that occasion and plays really well. But at the same time, because he has missed a reasonable amount of time and he's been out of the lineup, this defense has adjusted and Hafley's adjusted and guys have stepped into a role and understand their role and the defense has kind of picked it up and they've been playing well. And listen, it's going to be a challenge going against that offense and those receivers, regardless of who's out there, if it was Jair or not. And let's just kind of look at it one way or another. Like those guys are going to get their completions, right? Like Jefferson, and like he's going to catch some passes and he's going to get some yards, and like you just kind of have to accept that. It's can you limit the damage against guys like that, right? Like and that's kind of the way it goes when you play these really good wide receivers and that have multiples, right? Like Addison, Jefferson. Like how can you limit them? And that's got to be the plan, because when we saw them the first time, we did not limit one or the other, right? I mean, Addison was the one that went off, right? He went absolutely nuts on us. And you can't have one or the other. Like they can both, have, a couple catches here and there, but one can't pop off for 130 or 140. Like you just can't have it. You got to limit them both. And it's easier said than done. I understand it. I get it. And I'm sure Hafley knows it too, but, on the road, you got to be able to, tame an offense like that, and that's kind of what they're looking for. But yeah, you'd love to have them out there, but they've been making the adjustment pretty much all year without him.
J.A., without Watson, does that worry you in the receiver room at all, or are you good with the depth they have and hope for big things from Dobbs, Reed, etc.?
Well, I never worry about the wide receiver room. I worry about who's on the field because they all get to sit in the room. I think the Jair Alexander thing is just idle talk anymore. I think the Packers are like everybody else. They're like, okay, we're kind of done with this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, until he shows up. Like, I think he's probably – I don't know that he plays again. Different discussion. But they clearly, the way they've handled him, the less talk they have about him, he is sort of out of mind, it seems like. And any idea that he's coming back again is – going to be more shocking, I think, than if he doesn't play. Watson, no, they've shown they can survive without him because he's another one. He's been hurt enough that they know how to play without him, right? When he's there, and he's my guy. I think he's the best player on the field most of the time. If they Josh Jacobs. He's the best wide receiver. He can do the most things out there, even when he doesn't catch the ball. He can be used so many ways, even when he's not catching it, although I prefer it when they actually do use him. And I think that's shown in the offensive output. But they've played so many games without this cat, right? Last year when he gets hurt in a lot of ways, right? This one was he just was caught a ball out of bounds and somebody fell on his knee, and he tweaked his hammy because he tried to take a knee after a first down or whatever it was, and then he was out for I'm sorry, he gets the label injury prone because guys like that just doesn't happen to normal people, and two, if he's not there, one, you play with who you have, and two, they've played enough without this guy that it doesn't worry me a bit. If the two things I feel better about this game than the last time they played was their first drive was missed field goal pick. Last 5 games, no picks, haven't missed a field goal in a long time, and that changes the whole complexion of the game. Instead of coming out and getting boat raced in the first 20 minutes of the game, now you hang in there and you give yourself a chance. So both those guys, Watson and Jair, they just missed enough football that I figure, okay, we'll play great when you're there, but I'm ready to play on without you. I don't have time. If your mom keeps calling you to be in the house, then we'll play with who's in the backyard.
Huh? I don't know that I've heard that expression before.
Well, that's probably it's an old saying. I made it up about 3 seconds ago.
That's what makes John Anderson the best. It's Green Bay Game Day. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel, John Anderson, Super Bowl champion Bryan Bulaga hanging out with you. We go to Minnesota coming up next. ESPN NFL Nation reporter Rob Demovsky joins us from US Bank Stadium. We'll continue to talk about some of these injuries, but also the impressive way the Packers have been playing the last couple of weeks as we continue to preview Packers-Vikings 3:25 kickoff on Fox. Rob Demovsky joins us next right here on Green Bay Game Day.
We're back with Green Bay Game Day after this on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right. And naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
The daily grind can leave your car looking like it's been through overtime. But at Tsunami Express Car Wash, they'll help you tackle the dirt and grime. Step onto the field with their Tsunami Clean Tech Tunnel. It treats, cleans, protects, and dries your car, delivering an MVP shine every time. And with their 7th site now open in Midtown Milwaukee, Tsunami Express is making it even easier to score big across Wisconsin. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat. Get your first wash free when you sign up online at TsunamiExpress.com.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ready for a win? Well, it's your year. At Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, you can win over $2,000 in free play every month, all year long. Just play your favorite games and you might take the stage in the It's Your Year game show. 25 winners each Thursday. There's $300,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs this January. Yeah, we think it's your year. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old to play.
Ho, 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 my back.
Santa?
Ho, 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 Gina Della from Pella. You've been a good girl this year.
Is that why you're in here building new windows?
Yes. Next year, how about just asking for a Pella gift card? My elves are used to designing windows from other places where they're all pretty much the same. But Pella? Ho, 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 so many customizations and designs. My elves aren't qualified, so Santa has to put in some overtime. Ho,
Let me make a call. BRB.
Frighteningly fast pellet team at your service. Let us take it from here, Mr. Claus. And Gina, next time.
Yeah, I know. Santa already lectured me. Ask for a Pella gift card.
What if you need new windows or doors, but you're on the naughty list?
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get as low as $19 per window and $81 per patio door per month.
Ho, ho, ho! Visit the Pella site, and to all a good night.
PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply. Ends 12/31/2024.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Power your life with a generator from Adams, Wisconsin's #1 rated Generac dealer. Adams provides sales, installation, maintenance, and 24/7 service from all locations. Learn why Adams is your best choice in providing power peace of mind. Visit adamspower.com today.
True Chicago-style pizza is thin, crispy, and cut into squares. And thanks to Connie's Frozen Pizza, you can enjoy a true slice of the city. You'll enjoy it so much you won't even mind where it comes from. Connie's Frozen Pizzas are made from the same cornmeal crust Connie's has been serving for over 60 years. They're perfectly cheesy, perfectly saucy, and they're exactly what you crave. Get to know the true Chicago style with Connie's Frozen Pizza. Born in Chicago, loved by cheeseheads. Available in a freezer aisle near you.
This is Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Green Green Bay Game Day counting you down to kickoff. It's Packers-Vikings 3:25 kickoff in Minnesota. Packers can help the Lions end the NFC North race with a win today. Lions need to finish the job with a win tomorrow. Packers-Lions win this week. NFC North is decided. Number 1 seed in the NFC is decided. Vikings win today. Things get really interesting heading into Week 18 next week. Joining us now from U.S. Bank Stadium in Minnesota is ESPN NFL Nation reporter Rob Demovsky, the 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year. Rob, happy Sunday, happy game day. Big one in Minnesota today.
It is, Alex, and I just got done with listening to the sound check of whatever post-game concert is being played here. I thought we were going to be in the clear, and now they're practicing the national anthem. So hopefully you can hear me okay.
I hear you loud and clear. I hear a little bit of background noise. How do they sound from your perspective, though? Pretty good choice by the Minnesota events team?
Well, I'm not sure who it was, but they sounded pretty good. So I guess I'll have to listen to that while I'm trying to write my story after the game. But it's all good.
Well, good. Packers defense been playing really well the last few weeks, Rob. Yep. But again, they'll be without Jair Alexander, Quay Walker, Evan Williams, all ruled out of this one. I believe Javon Bullard's still questionable, but he's missed the last few games. Yep. Where's your level of concern with some of those injuries?
I mean, first of all, I think there's a good chance that most of those guys, except for maybe Jair, which hopefully we don't get into that because we've wasted enough time over the last few weeks on that topic. But it seems like most of those guys will be back, by the playoffs, if not sooner. I don't know about Bullard playing today. He only practiced 2 days this week, and their history would tell you that they probably will ease him, back in to practice 1 week and then not play him that week and play him the next week. But the bottom line is they've been without these guys for the last few weeks for the most part, and they played pretty well. So I don't know that, necessarily they've faced, the combination of receiver, running back, and tight end that they're going to face today with Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, and Aaron Jones. But look, I think that they're used to the way they played with this personnel, and they played pretty well with it. So, I don't know that it's a great concern at this point.
Rob, with Christian Watson down, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network reporting that earlier today, do you think we see the Packers go more 2 tight end sets with Luke Musgrave continuing to get folded back in?
I mean, that would be one way to approach it, and a way to get Tucker Kraft, maybe isolated where he's not double covered. That's a possibility. Musgrave played a little bit last week, and I don't know that it's going to have a great impact on the game. But look, I mean, they've dealt with injuries at the receiver position before. They've dealt with absences, and they've been okay. I think the one thing that has to happen, or I guess can't happen, is, Dontavion Wicks, when he gets increased opportunities, can't drop the ball. Like, he's got to catch it. They can't have those drops. And, they probably can't sustain an in-game injury at that position either, or they could be in a spot of trouble. The game obviously changes with Christian Watson, just given his unique ability to get down the field and stretch the defense, and that could be a problem. Today, it could also allow the Vikings defense to, stack the box a little bit more and play the run a little bit more, and that could be a concern as well, the trickle-down effect there from the Watson injury.
ESPN NFL Nation reporter Rob Demovsky hanging out with us. John Anderson, I'm curious what's on your mind for Rob. Go ahead.
I want to know how the Vikings are 13-2. They were 7-10 last year, and Sam Darnold's been a revelation. Like, I don't know that anybody in 5 years has seen this coming, but like, how is that? Because they're 13-2, and there's no kind of fluky stuff in there. Like, that's a really good team and a really good turnaround in 1 year.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 years ago they were in the same position where they were winning a lot of close games, right? In Kevin O'Connell's first year. I think he's a really good coach. I think there are 3 really good coaches in this division, 3 really good coaching staffs. Wes Phillips, the offensive coordinator here, he comes from a long line of coaches, obviously, with Wade Phillips, Bum Phillips. He's done a really good job here. And then, like, it goes back to sort of what I talked about earlier, John, with the combination of weapons. Not saying it's easy for Sam Darnold, but when you've got maybe the best receiver in the league in Justin Jefferson. You've got, one of the best young guys in the league in Jordan Addison, a running back that's dynamic like Aaron Jones and healthy. That's the key thing. Packers moved on from him because they didn't think he could, stay healthy, and he has this season. And then T.J. Hawkinson coming back, he came back about middle of the season from his injury from last year, and it's a pretty dynamic group. I don't know how many teams, top two receivers, running back, and tight ends that you would take over this foursome.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to look at depth charts around the league, but it's a pretty good. That's a pretty good group right there, John.
Interesting insight on the Vikings from Rob Domofsky. Blue, what's on your mind?
Yeah, Rob, we were talking a little bit earlier about how good Jordan Love has been against pressure this year. And I didn't know if you guys talked to LaFleur this week about kind of the mindset that they're going into it, having to beat pressure this week in a loud environment with how much Minnesota kind of throws at it. Did he mention anything this week about kind of the mindset of that?
It was a topic, Brian, really for everybody this week, just because of, the Vikings are the number one blitz team. I think the number is like 38% of the time they send 5 or more, which is, very, very high. And the first, I don't have the stats in front of me, but the first, I think it was 7 games, Jordan Love had the third worst passer rating, or QBR, I guess the ESPN uses, against the blitz. And the last 6 games, he's number 1. And he has been, I think one of the things that they talked about this week was the fact that, Jordan's health has allowed him to escape a little bit more. There's been a couple of plays the last couple of weeks where he has done a good job of escaping pressure and then, either taking the check down or finding an intermediate route down the field. And when you do that against the blitz, that's perfect counter, right? If they're going to come pressure and you can escape it, now you've got numbers in your favor, down the field or even in the short to intermediate area of the field. And that's really what they talked about all week. And it'll be interesting to see if Brian Flores, blitzes that much, just given how good Jordan has been against it. And not just Jordan, but the whole blocking unit, as a group has been really good against it. So, look, Brian Flores is going to do what he does, but I do wonder if he'll back off just a little bit today, given how the Packers have handled it and how well they've handled it of late.
Rob, how about the Packers defense? It's something we're going to be talking about here in a bit, but they've played really well the last several weeks, maybe with exception of that Detroit game where they allowed 34 points. How big of a believer are you at this point in the new defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley?
Yeah, it's definitely been a huge upgrade. There's no question about it. That goes without saying. What I don't know that we know yet is, can they win games against really good teams in either a game like today, which is essentially a playoff feel, and in the playoffs because of their defense, right? Can they get the stop that they have to get, in the fourth quarter or whenever it's a key point in the game where they have to get off the field? They could not do that against Detroit on third and fourth down, right? Was it 4 fourth downs? The Lions converted in
Correct.
that game, 4 out of 5, I think they were. That's the next question for this defense is when it matters against really good teams, can they get it done? Their run defense seems like it's been a little bit better, or maybe even a lot better this year, which has always been, the Achilles heel of this defense. So, I think they have great leadership on that side of the ball with Xavier McKinney. Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary are starting to play better. Edgerrin Cooper has made a huge difference the last month or so. But I do think until we see it in a real situation, not that every week in the NFL isn't real, but one that it's just, high stress against a good team that you have to get a stop. I think that's the question that we all still have.
What's the biggest reason you think they haven't been able to close out and win some of these games against the top teams in the NFC?
Well, let's just take the Vikings game. I know it was a long time ago, but in week 4, Gabe, they had 4 drops by ESPN Stats and Information's count. I thought it was a little bit higher. They missed 2 field goals with a different kicker, and Jordan was coming off the injury. So that's that game. I think you got to take each game, for what it is, and I don't know that there's necessarily an overriding theme, but when it comes to that Vikings game, those are things that will kill you against most teams, especially really good ones. And, I would say for the most part, they've cut down on the drops, the penalty, the pre-snap penalties on offense have been better, but that'll be tested today in a huge way in this loud environment. And then they're better on defense, and they got a better kicker. So, just taking it from the Vikings perspective, that's, those are a lot of things that go wrong in a game, and those things will get you beat. We could go through, I'm sure we could go through the two Lions games and the Philly game as well. But that's the one I spent a lot of time looking at this week, just kind of trying to figure out, what happened back in week 4. And I think all those things contributed to it.
Yeah. And the Seattle game a few weeks ago, I know we talked about this when you joined us 2 weeks ago, Rob, was when you have multiple good wide receivers, right? When you have multiple threats in the passing game. The Packers have not done well, right? You mentioned Philly. You mentioned Minnesota. We've talked about both the Detroit losses. Yep. Without Jair, that's just the one thing that my mind goes back. I think the Packers win today, but that's the one thing where I'm like, thinking back to what Addison did in week 4, that's the part that makes me nervous.
No, you're 100% right about that, and that's what we need to see. Let's find out. And if they're not going to have Jair the rest of the way, can they do it? And today I think we'll answer that.
How do you think it plays out today, Rob?
I'm really torn, to be honest with you. I do think the Packers have a really good chance at winning, but like you said earlier, or Gabe said earlier at the top, or I can't remember who it was, but how'd they win 13 games? How the Vikings this good? It's not by accident. So I don't think it'll be. I don't think it will be easy, but I'd give the Packers a better than 50-50 shot at winning this game.
John, do you have any farewell questions for Rob regarding Minneapolis, the food he's been eating, the press box meals? Any questions in that regard, John? I know you're always curious about the road trips.
No, I don't have anything on that. I don't have any Marvel characters. I would like to know why DePuy can't get by Wisconsin Lutheran, but other than that, no, I don't. have
big win over the Academy of Science, though.
Well, I'll tell you what, I haven't really gotten a chance to experience any of Minneapolis because I was in Milwaukee at 10 o'clock last night watching my Redbirds win again, and I planned to drive about halfway last night, and the fog limited me to getting to Boston, Wisconsin, where I spent the night in a beautiful $63 motel.
Ooh, wow.
And then drove the rest of the way this morning. So the press box right now, it looks like they're making breakfast burritos. Now it's afternoon, so I guess that's more of a Sunday brunch kind of thing, but it looks pretty good.
Well, go get your breakfast burrito.
Did you get any strange look when you checked into a Kurt's Why Go Buy motel at $63 a night and say, I need it for 4 hours?
Well, I think I was overdressed for the place. That's all I'll say.
Got it.
What an experience, always. Well, safe travels, Rob. Drink some coffee, and hopefully this game will keep you awake between the Packers and the Vikings. Thanks for the time, as always.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We'll be seeing you.
The great Rob Domofsky joins us each and every week to preview the Packers game. We'll get him again next week ahead of the regular season finale against the Chicago Bears and, of course, into the postseason. Couple of games going on right now in the NFL. Really only one with NFC playoff implications. If the Buccaneers lose to the Panthers today, that solidifies the wild card race. It will be the Vikings, Packers, well, likely the Vikings, obviously. They could still win the division, but Vikings, Packers, and Washington Commanders with a Buccaneers loss. But they lead the Panthers right now 13-7 in Tampa, that game right now. Elsewhere in the NFC, Philadelphia and Dallas tied at 7 apiece early second quarter. And that's about all the games that matter right now. I mean, this slate is disgusting. You've got a barn burner between the Jaguars and the Titans right now. Jags up 10-0. I mean, there are some really gross games. How about the Giants and the Colts playing right now? There are some bad games.
Oh, the Giants shooting themselves in the foot, though. They're up 14-3. They're blowing a chance at that number 1 overall pick.
And the wild thing is the Colts technically still alive in the AFC wildcard race. They need to win out and they need some help. But, they're still alive, and they are trailing by 11 to the Giants.
Yeah. There's not enough help in the world if you trail 14-3 to the Giants when that comes through. Listen, you're going to get some bad games when you play 5 days a week. They played Wednesday and Thursday and 3 yesterday. Like, you're just going to – there's only so much to go around. And God bless them, though. They're making their TV money. But they offered up a few dogs here on this. They figure a lot of people are cleaning out the house and taking down the tree and nobody will notice.
I guess real quick around the horn on this. Christmas Day NFL games. Should Christmas Day be reserved for the NBA, or are you pro NFL games? Because the teams we saw were good. The product we saw wasn't. Gabe, are you pro or anti-NFL on Christmas Day?
Give me football on Christmas.
Okay, John?
I'll take it anytime, and that's I'm trying not to get down on the Duke's Mayo Bowl or the Weed Eater Bowl or any of those other things. But you want to see some bad matchups. Right? I don't know. Unless you guys were up watching East Carolina and NC State last night. Like
I'd
rather see an NFL game. And the NBA, that's great. But they play 7-game first-round series. So I don't need to – they got 2 months of playoffs. I don't even need – I get it's their day. I don't need even to buy in that early.
Brian?
Yeah, I mean, you could have told me the NBA was playing every hour on the hour. Hey, the NBA tips off at this time, and sent me a text, and I still wouldn't have remembered that the NBA was playing. So yeah, I'll take the NFL on Christmas Day all the time. And it didn't even matter that the product wasn't that good, right? I'd rather turn that on. But the thing was, they were good teams though. So you want to watch, right. And I mean, it wasn't like you were getting the Thursday night Titans Jags. Which I feel like is almost every Thursday night game is the Titans Jags.
That's fair.
It's amazing. They've each played 15 times on Thursday. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of like every wild card game that ABC and ESPN used to get was whoever the Texans were holding.
Yeah.
We just kept waiting to see, okay, here comes our game. It'll be Texans and who? Maybe Indy when Peyton left, when it was game. Oh, by the way, but it's still, listen, I'll watch Joe Burrow play anytime, any day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, he's the best.
I'll watch Joey. That guy can play. I'm not so sure I get that we kind of like Patrick Mahomes, and we kind of like the fellow there in Buffalo with Josh Allen. I tell you what, there are many guys that I would want in place of Jackpot Joey, because that guy can throw, and he's
it's a great point. Nail. Totally agree. He is one of my favorite players to watch in all of the NFL. So anyway, not a great slate today, but there's a really good game on at 3:25 that we will continue to preview.
We should talk about that.
Yeah, we'll continue to talk about Packers-Vikings coming up next here on the show, appropriately named Marvel. No, not Marvel. Joe Burrow. No, not that either. Green Bay Game Day. That's the name of the show. And we continue to talk Packers-Vikings next.
Stay right here. Green Bay Game Day will be right back on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Another MVP has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
Dr. Ryan Stefanchuk.
Board certified in sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation, Dr. Stefanchuk specializes in non-operative treatment of the spine, chronic pain, all joints, all musculoskeletal problems, and more, emphasizing holistic care first, with a focus on diet, sleep, stress management, and social connections for a patient's well-being. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
At Cousin Subs, the bigger your smile, the better we feel. That's why our menu features something for everyone, like our Wisconsin cheese curds, golden fries, creamy shakes, and mac and cheese, all paired with your favorite sub, or our subs in a bowl. And don't forget our kids' meals, now with a free cookie. Here's to a better day. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Gift giving is easy with an Island Resort and Casino gift card. Every person on your list can spend their time just the way they like it. Dining, going to a concert, relaxing at the Drift Spa, playing golf. No matter the reason, gift cards to the Midwest's premier resort destination are a sure bet. To order gift cards, stop by the Island Club today or call 877-ISL-SHOW. Then spread some joy, because everyone knows your total experience is at the Island.
Experience, knowledge, and results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center is hosting their first ever tournament with $750 in cash prizes available. Hey ESPN Milwaukee, this is Gary Ellerson, and Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center invites you to play in a two-man scramble at Whistling Straits, all from their comfortable golf simulators. Grab a friend and sign up today at wisconsinindoorgolfcenter.com. The tournament costs $120 per pairing and is happening now through December 31st. Your winter chance to play Whistling Straits awaits. wisconsinindoorgolfcenter.com.
Confidence and strength begin with how you feel. At Quintessa Aesthetic Center, it is not about just looking good. It's about results that last and empower you. With 5 convenient locations in Delafield, Mequon, Brookfield, Middleton, and Sheboygan, their team of world-class plastic surgeons, skilled clinicians, and expert estheticians are here to help you take control. Whether it's advanced skincare, anti-aging treatments, body contouring, or muscle strengthening, Quintessa has everything you need to sharpen your image and boost your confidence. Take the first step towards a stronger, more confident you. Visit myquintessa.com today.
Football season. Best time of the year and my favorite time of the year. This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. On game days, my favorite teammate is a cold carbless in my hand. Premium cocktails in a can made right here in the great state of Wisconsin. Maybe it's when I'm at the tailgate ahead of kickoff or getting ready at home for the game. Carbless is there. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Carbless features classic cocktails like margarita, Paloma, and even Moscow Mule, and vodka cocktail flavors like cranberry, lemon, and peach. Find it on your next grocery trip. Carbless. Less is more.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that American Family Insurance agents can help build a customized renter's policy so you can protect stuff like this, or this, or even this. Well, case in point. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
I think I'm cracking up, and am I just paranoid?
Green Bay Game Day presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Brought to you in part by Tito's Handmade Vodka. It's America's favorite vodka for a reason. Distilled 6 times till it's just right. Tito's, known for great vodka, giving back, and doing good for dogs. 40% alcohol by volume. Namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel, John Anderson from SportsCenter and Wipeout fame, and the Super Bowl champion, Bryan Bulaga, with us. Fellas, before we get to Jason Wilde, who is live at US Bank Stadium coming up in just a few minutes. Yeah, John perked up when he heard that news. Wilde's making the road trip, John, just for you.
Dang. And he probably didn't even stop in Boston, Wisconsin, wherever the hell.
Mauston, Wisconsin, with an M.
Yeah, wherever he fell down. Whatever. He wasn't with Demovsky.
I would
night.
assume not, but I can't definitely confirm that. They may have been tearing up the motel in Mauston, Wisconsin together. Okay. We full believers in Jeff Hafley? I mean, this guy seems like a future NFL head coach. And I've been, again, I say, despite playing some mediocre to bad teams the last few weeks, I've been really impressed with how this defense has turned it around.
So I don't know that I'm fully there yet. I'm all in on the improvement there. I would rebut Gabe a little bit. I do think any shutout in the NFL is impressive, or there had been more than 0 this year before the Packers did it. Even if it was against because there are bad teams that play every week, as you guys have pointed out, many of them are playing right now against each other.
They certainly are. Yes.
But the fact that that that's the first show of the entire season. They've got 10 in the last 40 years. So that's a really hard thing to do. The spread wasn't the Packers by 33.5. So they knew they knew that the Saints weren't great. But the fact that they still pulled that off. So I think that's really impressive. I do think that gives them a little bit of swagger to go in with. I do think that, the return of Edgerrin Cooper is immeasurable. That guy
totally
kind of turned him loose with that thing in what he's doing. And so, by the way, if you really want to find a cure for the defensive back problem, get that going. Let Brenton Cox be an animal again when he comes out, and some of those things from that linebacking core. If I miss Quay Walker, I feel bad for saying that, but I don't know that his absence of anybody that's left that were starters has been the least felt
Yeah, he's out again today. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet, but yeah, I'm with you.
Anyway, if you want to line that up, so I think he's done some things that the plus, what is the plus? The turnover plus minus like 12. It's really
12,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think there are tons of things that indicate that that's a defense that has improved a bunch, is moving in the right direction, and is hopefully a defense that can, and I think as Rob pointed out, is a defense that can maybe win them a game. Because somewhere along the line, especially in the playoffs, the defense is going to have to maybe win you a game.
Potentially. Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think, John, when you're talking about like a coach and kind of how a unit takes on a coach's identity and how that speaks about the coach, I mean, you said it all, right? Like how the unit has improved throughout the season kind of speaks to the coach, right? I mean, when guys start to go down throughout a season and guys have to step in and non-starters have to take on big roles, how those guys are able to fill in and perform, and how defensive coordinators are able to make adjustments to, I don't want to say hide guys or cover guys up, but to allow those guys to perform in certain situations that maybe they're not comfortable in, right? And maybe, turn some weaknesses into strengths. And he's been able to do that. So that's kind of a ringing endorsement for him. But clearly there's a long way to go with him, right? There's still a lot to go, but I think there's a lot of really good signs for him as a DC in his first year. And I've been impressed with it. I mean, I think a lot of people were down on it early on because of the pass rush. And that was the big thing coming out early on, was how aggressive the pass rush is going to be. And we've seen that slowly start to pick up. And I still think there need to be pieces that need to be added to that in the offseason to kind of improve that and make that thing what we need it to be. But he's been able to make adjustments with pressures and simulated pressures and add-ons and things like that to make that more effective. So I think he's done a really nice job. And no, it's not perfect, but as from a coaching standpoint, I think he's made the most out of what he has from a player standpoint. And the guys that you expect at this point in the season to be playing really good, like Kenny, I think Rashawn's starting to play, a lot better at this point in the season. Now we're starting to see some young guys starting to play really well. That's all signs of coaches giving these guys confidence to play at a high level. And I think that comes from a defensive coordinator, the main guy pulling the strings.
Yeah, I'm with you in terms of, I think, the front four getting more pressure. He's doing the best he can with what he's got. I think at this point, it's a personnel issue that needs to be addressed this offseason. They need to get pressure today. They need to do better than the 2 quarterback sacks and 3 quarterback hits that they had against Sam Darnold earlier this season. They certainly had pressure and brought pressure, the last couple of weeks. Can you continue that against a team that's going to be ready for it and has all the weapons to get the ball out of Sam Darnold's hands quickly and might be able to take advantage of what you have on the outside? Getting pressure with 4 is so important against this team, especially with no Jair Alexander.
Fingers crossed, man. It's going to be a fun one in Minnesota. We go to Minnesota again. Coming up next, Jason Wilde, who's been patiently awaiting his arrival to the Jason Wilde Hour, about 6 minutes late. Matt Eberflus level clock management by me today. Poorly done. Oh. Jason Wilde joins us next from U.S. Bank Stadium as we continue to preview Packers-Vikings 3:25 kickoff right here. Green Bay Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
More Green Bay Game Day coming up on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Green and gold fans, it's game day. And you know what that means. Tailgating with friends and raising a glass to our favorite team. This season, make Bacardi the star of your pregame party. Whether you're mixing up a classic Bacardi and cola, refreshing Bacardi lime and soda, or a smooth spiced and cola, Bacardi is the perfect pick for game day fun. Grab a bottle and get ready to cheer on Green Bay with the best in hand. Available now at your local retailer. Live passionately, drink responsibly. Bacardi USA, Miami, Florida. Rum 40% alcohol by volume.
This holiday season, the Salvation Army needs your help. Bell ringers are working hard, and our service depends on generous donations like yours. Every dollar donated helps us provide meals, shelter, and emergency support to families in crisis, not just at Christmas, but all year long. From immediate need to long-term care, your donation can create lasting change in our communities. Join us in making a difference. Volunteer as a bell ringer or donate today. Visit SalvationArmyWI.org to learn how you can help.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta. Whether I'm headed to a big college football game or just need a reliable ride, I trust AccuTrans Group. They're a veteran-owned business that delivers top-notch transportation, perfect for game day or any event. From tailgates to team outings to corporate travel and weddings, AccuTrans has you covered. Booking is a breeze, and their service is always safe and dependable. Visit AccuTransGroup.com to book your ride today. That's AccuTransGroup.com, your go-to for reliable transportation this football season.
Whether you're about to graduate high school or have been in the workforce for years, it's time to take control of your future. Welcome to Lakeland University, where you call the shots. We use our flexible learning formats to customize your degree path. In-person, online, and virtual classes are all available. Lakeland University is designed around you, your goals, your schedule, your future. You can even earn up to 25% of your degree via paid work experiences. Ready to take control of your future? Let us customize an education to fit your needs. Visit lakeland.edu/ESPN to learn more.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
Life's busy, and Quick Trip gets it. Whether you're grabbing fresh coffee, a bakery treat, or a quick meal, Quick Trip is your go-to for quality and fast service. From clean restrooms to fresh groceries, easy meal options, and guaranteed fuel, we make your day easier. Plus, enjoy perks like free ATMs, free air for your tires, and sweet rewards with the Quick Rewards program. Everything you need in one stop, and always a friendly, see you next time, Quick Trip, where your day gets easier and better.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. It's simple. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. And again, you can win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join now, because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Tune in to KBN every day at 2 o'clock. Kyle Bruston Nortman. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Party people! It's time to get this tailgate started and get you ready for the green and gold game. This is Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. Now broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside Gabe Neitzel, ESPN legend John Anderson, and green and gold legend Bryan Bulaga. Here's Alex Strouf.
Yeah, away we go. Hour 2, Green Bay Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel, John Anderson, Bryan Bulaga hanging out with you. And if you're watching on the video stream, ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison on YouTube, you see a nice shot from the press box of U.S. Bank Stadium of the field, the Minnesota Vikings logo. And now that camera will flip around to the face of 3-time Wisconsin sports writer here and a phenomenal cameraman, might I add. Jason Wilde joins us now on Green Bay Game Day. He's on the road for the first time in a year. Uh-oh, what is that? What do you got there, Jason?
So this is what we've got. I just took Bill Huber's just so I could demonstrate, because I already put mine in my bag because I'm very excited to wear this. It's like if you're a quarterback, I know Bryan would have never worn one of these because he was a tough guy who went without sleeves, but you put your hands in here in between plays to keep your hands warm, and it's cold enough inside US Bank Stadium that I kind of need it right now. But other than that, it is great to be on the road. I'm a little rusty, got here way too early, so I have had a couple of breakfast burritos and some fruit.
Oh, good.
And I've been sitting here wondering, at what point is John Anderson going to play his mom's piano for us so we can hear a little more of his talents, because we know how good he is at all the other stuff he does.
I'm happy to hear you indulged in the breakfast burritos. Rob Domofsky was just telling us about them, so I'm very excited. How were they? Good?
It's good. I thought I did a great job of putting it together with all the ingredients they provided. I'm quite the culinary chef.
John, do you know how to play the piano?
No, to quote Matt Damon from Good Will Hunting, I look back there and I see 3 pedals and a box of wood. But my wife plays, and my son actually is really good. He came home and he goes, "Hey, I've been working on something." He sat down. I'm like, "Good Lord, do you go to school ever?" It gets used. It's not just decorative, but it does not get used by me at all.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. Listen, I disappoint in many, many ways, and not the piano is one of them.
You got that right.
Jason, last time the Packers had a big divisional game on the road, you talked about how through the course of that week, Matt LaFleur, I don't know if he was on edge, just seemed generally aware of how big the game was, but there was a different vibe to LaFleur throughout the course of that week. And honestly, I think they kind of got off to a slow start maybe because of that against Detroit. What was his general kind of attitude throughout the course of this week? Do they seem more prepared for a game, a big one in the division today?
Yeah, that's a good question, Gabe. I thought it was, obviously, first of all, it was a short week, right? So we didn't really spend as much time talking to him as we normally would during a Sunday to Sunday week. But I thought he said something that really stood out on Tuesday. And I don't know if Rob mentioned this as well. I know he mentioned it when he was on with Tausch and me the other day. But, he basically said, look, we need this game, quite frankly, because of what we're going to be going through in the playoffs. And I thought it was unusual for Matt to look ahead in a way, right? I mean, obviously he's not looking past the Vikings, but the idea that he was looking at this game not only because it's important from a standpoint of winning and beating a team. You heard Jordan Love say during the week that when Rob asked him, how badly do you need to beat a good team? And he said badly. So I think there's an acknowledgement of, hey, we think we're really good, but there are other people who don't. And, it would be nice to prove to those people that we are. But I think from a practical matter, this place is going to kiss during the course of the game. This is a good team, no matter how much some people want to poo-poo them. This is a playoff preview. They may not play the Vikings in the playoffs, but it is a preview of the environment of going on the road and dealing with hostile environments. Bryan has talked so many times about dealing with the noise and the snap count and everything else that comes with that. This is basically a dress rehearsal for them for what their road to the Super Bowl would look like. And how are they going to handle that today? So it's not just about winning today. It's also setting the table for what you're going to do if you think you're legitimately a threat to get to New Orleans and Super Bowl 59.
What's your biggest, I don't want to call it a worry, but what is the thing the Vikings do best that Packers fans should keep an eye on in terms of this game this afternoon?
Yeah, I don't have a worry. You're right. I mean, I'm worried that I'm missing out on all the fun that the girls are having at the Mall of America. But from a team standpoint, I think the biggest worry here, you guys were talking about this defense, and I'm a Jeff Hafley believer. He certainly helped me write my Matt LaFleur O'Connell story today with his insights from knowing those two. But are they going to be able to be good enough against really good offenses, right? I mean, it's one thing to throttle Spencer Rattler or Sam Howell III, who should go back to Gilligan's Island. Like, that's great that they did what they did in those games. But are they going to be able to do it against the Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Sam Darnold type offense? Are they going to be able to do it if they have to open on the road in LA and they don't have all Packers fans there like they did in the regular season game, and they have to play Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee, which they didn't have to do in the regular season game that they won there. So I think, to me, that's the one thing that I'm really curious about. And then the other side of it, look, we all agree Jordan Love is a good quarterback. We're not putting him in the Hall of Fame yet. I know Homer's already put him in the Packers Hall of Fame, but Homer likes to do things prematurely. But we know he's a good quarterback. But what if a team like the Vikings today, who are number 2 in the league against the run, come in and say, we're not letting Josh Jacobs beat us. If you want to beat us with your quarterback, who we know you think is good and we know is pretty good, then we're going to make you do that. And are they capable? And is Jordan Love capable? I think he probably is, but that's another aspect that I can't say with absolute certainty because Josh Jacobs has been such a field tilter and has made everyone's life so much easier with the way he's played.
I'm so glad you, because that was going to be the thing I asked you. Like, that was going to be, because we talked about that earlier about how good Minnesota's been against the run and how good Green Bay obviously has been with the run game and how they've relied on the run game so much to set up everything else. And why wouldn't you with how good Jacobs has been? But I think Minnesota's going to dare Green Bay to throw it. And Green Bay is going to have to prove that, hey, we got a guy that makes $55 million a year. We have a lot of trust in him. We need to have him go out and prove it. And I think, and listen, I feel good about Jordan Love throwing the football around the field. I feel really good about it. But I think this is going to be a game that Green Bay has to throw Minnesota out of their run defense because we kind of talked about it. Without Watson in there, they can bring an extra guy down in the box. They don't have to feel threatened with a deep shot. So you're going to be playing against a 7-man box, maybe sometimes a threat of an 8-man if Harrison Smith wants to get frisky down there. And you're going to have to beat heavy loaded boxes with the pass. And that's what I think we're going to see a lot of early is Flores testing LaFleur and how badly do you want to beat us in the air? And that's what I'm excited to see. Because I think, as much as they pressure, right? Like as much as Flores pressures, he's going to dare them, to throw it with heavy boxes. And that I'm glad you said that because that I was going to ask you about that. And to me, that's, I think, going to be a big key in this one is kind of that chess match between LaFleur and Flores. How about that? LaFleur and Flores calling plays, and personnel groupings and all that. That'll be fun.
I'm just glad that I was thinking the same thing you were because that makes me look a hell of a lot smarter than I actually am. So I appreciate that. Now I'm going to break down duo blocking and how to get off on the snap count with that extra kick a little bit later in the show.
Wow, can't wait for that. The Jason Wilde Hour here on Green Bay Game Day. Brian's feeling really good about where this Packers team is at after the last few weeks. So I actually want to dive into the brain of Bryan Bulaga because I feel like he's explained it a little bit. I really want to know how he's feeling after the last few weeks because I haven't talked to him since prior to the Seattle game 2 weeks ago. So we will dive into the brain of Bryan Bulaga with our special guest, the 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde, John Anderson, Gabe Neitzel, Alex Strouf, hanging out with you. It's Green Bay Game Day, which is brought to you in part by our friends at the Island Resort and Casino. It is a premier resort destination, the largest north of Milwaukee, with everything you like to do in one awesome location. Visit islandresortandcasino.com and book your total experience today. More Green Bay Game Day after this.
More Green Bay Game Day coming up on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Ready for a win? Well, it's your year. At Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, you could win over $2,000 in free play every month all year long. Just play your favorite games and you might take the stage in the It's Your Year game show. 25 winners each Thursday. There's $300,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs this January. Yeah, we think it's your year. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old to play.
Cousin Subs is spicing things up this fall with a new sub and a delicious shake. The Chipotle Cheesesteak Sub with either grilled-to-order chicken or steak features pepper jack cheese, sauteed green peppers and onions, jalapenos, and Chipotle ranch dressing. And that's not all. Pair your Chipotle cheesesteak with a delicious mint shake and your taste buds will fall in love. Order in-store, online, or via the mobile app. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
For over 4 decades, one name has stood out as a symbol of excellence in automotive sales and service.
It's the Boucher Automotive Group, dedicated to providing exceptional experiences to all of our valued customers.
We will help you find the perfect vehicle within your budget while respecting your time.
With 20 convenient locations, we're the one-stop destination for all your automotive needs.
At Boucher, we're your trusted partner on every mile of your journey.
Riding with you every mile since 1977.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right. And naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at titosvodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Save on your next project at Menards. Find your style with our great selection from Patriot Lighting. Ceiling lights add atmosphere and style to any space. We have a variety of styles and finishes. Choose from a range of color temperature options to create the perfect ambience for any occasion. A Bandar flush mount ceiling light is $24.99, good through December 31st. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Ho, 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 my back.
Santa?
Ho, 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 Gina Della from Pella. You've been a good girl this year.
Is that why you're in here building new windows?
Yes. Next year, how about just asking for a Pella gift card? My elves are used to designing windows from other places where they're all pretty much the same. But Pella? Ho, 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 so many customizations and designs. My elves aren't qualified, so Santa has to put in some overtime. Ho,
Let me make a call. BRB.
Frighteningly fast pellet team at your service. Let us take it from here, Mr. Claus. And Gina, next time.
Yeah, I know. Santa already lectured me. Ask for a Pella gift card.
What if you need new windows or doors, but you're on the naughty list?
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get as low as $19 per window and $81 per patio door per month.
Ho, ho, ho! Visit the Pella site, and to all a good night.
PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply. Ends 12/31/2024.
You're listening to Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Yeah, it's Green Bay Game Day with you ahead of Packers-Vikings, a 3:25 kickoff, about 2 hours on the dot away from kickoff at U.S. Bank Stadium. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel, John Anderson, Super Bowl champion Bryan Bulaga hanging out with you. Joined this hour by our friend from Wilde & Tausch, Jason Wilde, who was at U.S. Bank Stadium ahead of Packers-Vikings. I mentioned the Super Bowl champion, Bryan Bulaga, who always, feels really good about the Packers. But I've noticed his tone's gone up a little bit the last few weeks after a couple of dominant wins the last 2 weeks as we approach playoff time. Before we get into the mind of Bryan Bulaga, though, I'm distracted by Jason Wilde's use of binoculars up in the press box. What are you scouting out, Jay Wilde?
Well, I want to hear from Bryan Bulaga too, but I figured you guys might want a little bit of information. So Javon Bullard, who is questionable with that ankle injury, has missed the last 2 games, is going through a workout with Nate Weir and Flea, Brian Engel, and Brian Gutekunst watching it as well. I don't know if that Domofsky and I always talk about when a guy works out before a game. Rob's theory is the stronger he works, the more evidence it is that he's not actually playing and he's just getting a workout in advance of returning maybe the next week. I can see Quay Walker stretching, so we know he's not playing today. And I see Tyron Hopper going through a workout as well. So I don't see Christian Watson yet. And we will keep our eye out for him during the Jason Wilde Hour, presented by Bryan Bulaga.
Presented by Bryan Bulaga as well. Let's go to Blue. You mentioned right at the top of the show, you feel really good about this team. You think they're going to win today. Give us your thoughts. Where are you at right now on Green Bay?
Well, I do want to say real quick on that. Normally, when guys do their workouts beforehand, right, that they're not going to play. Now, this is, I don't know how they do it now, but normally when I was there,
back in my day.
Yeah, they would be doing the pregame workout if they were not playing and getting a workout in with Andrew Diatropalo. He's the head of rehab, so he would put them through a very strenuous workout just to get a workout in. Now, him doing the pregame warm-up with Nate and Flea with Goody watching, I'll tell you this much. I never really had Goody or a GM watching a warm-up unless there was a chance that a decision was actually being made prior to a game. So maybe things have changed since.
Brian, I think he just might have been walking by because now he left.
Okay. Well, then never mind.
I'm glad you mentioned Andrew because Andrew was in charge of Luke Musgrave's recovery, and he has now made it into the Wisconsin State Journal twice now, once for all the work he did with you, and then with the work that he did with getting Luke Musgrave back. So he does a really good job, and but I don't. My instinct would tell me that you're right, that the workout for Javon Bullard is hey, we feel really good about the progress you're making. Let's get a workout in today and go really hard so you're ready for next week against the Bears and ready for the playoffs.
Yep, that would be my guess too. That's my guess. But anyway, moving on to why I feel good. So, I think early on in the season, my biggest concern was the identity of the team, right? I think we all had that kind of question, who are they and what do they do best and which way are who are they going to be when they need to have it? And that was always my biggest question is are they going to put the ball in Love's hand? Are they going to put the ball in Jacob's hand? And on defense, what are they going to be? Are they going to be pressure the quarterback team? Are they going to be sit back in coverage and intercept in a opportunistic turnover type team? What are they? And we've kind of seen over the last 3 to 4 weeks this team kind of evolve, and obviously the biggest thing that jumps out is Josh Jacobs, and where they've turned this team is to a run first team, which isn't a slight on Jordan Love. It's not a knock on Jordan Love. It's just where they are as a football team. And it's not a slight on the receivers. It's not a slight on the offensive line. It's just what they do best. And they are embracing that. And when you have a team, a head coach, and a unit, which is the offensive side of the ball, that embraces what they do best, you start to get really positive results. And that's what we've seen. Even the Detroit game, how well they played offensively, not early, but as the game went on, how they fought back into it and how well they played, those are really, positive signs. And something that, for me, when you start to see a team starting to kind of ramp up as we get closer to the playoffs, very encouraging. And to the defensive side of the ball, I've liked the way that they've played against the run, because we've seen, and since I was there, and kind of, the last few years, the Achilles heel has always been the run game. It's always been the run game and how we play against the run in the playoffs. And that's always been our problem. And the way they've been going against the run the last, 4 weeks or so, again, the Detroit game's always the outlier. I get it. But even in that game, I didn't feel too bad about how they played against Detroit against the run. It was the pass game that, was really the story there. But they've done really well against the run. And I get the 49ers were shorthanded with Trent Williams, but I get that. But I thought they obviously did really well in that game. They did really well in the Miami game. They did really well in the Seattle game. They've played really well against the run, which to me is a really good sign. And this is another huge test against Aaron Jones, against this team with the threat of play action, all those things mixed in. This is a huge test. So with that combination and how they are all peaking, I like the direction, and I don't want to jinx it, because I know that's how it always goes. But for me, special teams, we have not seen like a blunder in special teams. And to me, that's a really good sign. I think they've been playing really well on that side of the ball. Like that unit has been performing really well. And when you're not talking about special teams, that means they're doing their job very well. And that's something like Bisaccia has caught a lot of heat over the last like 3 years since he's been there, right? Like people have been on him. I got a lot of respect for the guy because I know the type of coach he is and kind of his background throughout the league. So like, when people were getting out of him, I'm like, dude, this guy's a really good special teams coach. Like, don't run this guy out of here because he's good. And now it's coming good, and guys are performing well, and that unit is playing well. And I don't want to jinx them, but that side of the that unit is doing what they're supposed to do. So those 3 phases, they're all starting to perform at the level that they need to going into this point of the season.
If you're sitting at a wooden desk, please knock on it, Brian. That's all I ask of you.
Yeah. I got one. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
All right,
What I'm doing.
Good.
I got it.
John, I'm curious on your response to Brian.
Well, first off, nothing we say or do jinxes things. I'm tired of that.
Accurate.
What I do in Missouri, or what Blue does from Florida, or even Wilde, as close as he is, will have no effect on how the game is played out. Yeah, that's perfect. One of the Wizards of Waverly Place. Where I sit on my couch and watch the game means nothing. It just doesn't. And if Joe Buck says, the guy has not missed an extra point, and then he does, Joe Buck's not kicking, it's not his fault. So anyway, that's my brief rant on what's happening there.
Sounds like a pet peeve, yeah.
It's a huge pet peeve in that somehow that where I sit.
That rant has occurred, I'm guessing.
Well, it's you want another one? We have other favorites. That, we can talk about how people don't know how to go at the two-point conversion.
John
That's on
Anderson's
that.
greatest hits.
That's as well. Anyway, listen. Who am I to argue with a guy who's won a Super Bowl and play offensive line? It is. I look at how they lost the very first game to the Vikings, and I think what they are now and why they're good is it's everything they were not in the first game. They haven't missed field goals. They don't throw picks. Josh Jacobs doesn't carry the ball just 9 times, right? Like everything that was not good in that game is now what's good on the team. And I think that's the entire difference. The Hafley defensive thing, what I'm more curious about, especially from Jason, who watches them more often, is it's scheme, yes, it's better players, but like, who are the better players? Who do you like in there? I know you love Wilson, not just because he's Oregon. Cooper's been really good. Brenton Cox has come back. Like, we talk so much about Jair being gone in the defensive secondary, and we talk so much about can they get pressure on the quarterback, which is sort of a defensive line thing. I want to know, what do you think of the middle unit? Tell me what your impression is of how linebackers have played over the course of the season, because I think they've been a huge difference, too, in how this team has improved in the last 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah, first of all, I think you guys were talking a little bit about Quay Walker while I was in the green room, at least digitally, and I thought he was playing pretty darn well when he suffered the ankle injury. Like, it was the best that I think I'd seen him play, right? And look, he still doesn't make enough plays. He still has his moments where he seems to run around in a circle just to avoid making a tackle, which I know he's not doing on purpose, but that's how it looks. But I think. And I've said this to Brian, and I think I said it to Gabe, Jen, Gabe, and Chewy as well, and I might have even said it to Strouf when we did our weekly Wilde. I was
You can just say the only person you didn't say it to is Anderson. That's fine. The only person I think I haven't said this to is Anderson. He's hearing this for the first time.
That would have been a good way to go about it. But when would I ever be economical with my words, even when I barely have a voice in a press conference? But I really thought that they would hit the ground running better with their defense because it is simpler than what Joe Barry asked them to do. It's more aggressive than what Joe Barry asked them to do. And I was wrong. And Matt LaFleur was nice enough to correct me that, look, it doesn't matter what system you were in and you're switching to. It doesn't matter if it's offense or defense. It takes time. And I think Quay Walker probably took longer than others. And that's why he was really starting to kind of play well. And then obviously the ankle injury occurs. And if he can do what Devontae Wyatt had not done, which is suffer an ankle injury after playing really well and then struggle, which is what he did. It took a while for Wyatt to kind of get back up and running. and now he's been pretty good the last couple of weeks. If Quay Walker can get back in the lineup and play well, I think their linebacker group is a strength, not a weakness, because you've seen what Edgerrin Cooper has done with his limited, but not like really curtailed snaps, right? I mean, he's playing 35, 40 snaps a game. You see what he's doing. Isaiah McDuffie and Eric Wilson are not, Patrick Willis or Fred Warner, but they are both guys that make very few mistakes. They're sure tacklers. So to me, that group is like you said, a strength, assuming that Quay Walker comes back and plays at the level that he was playing at when he departed.
Yeah, similarly to my emotions as a fan, it seems like Quay Walker's had an up and down year, but to your point, Jason, more up when he got injured. But obviously, Edgerrin Cooper's done a really nice job filling that void, winning his second Defensive Player of the Week, NFC Defensive Player of the Week award a couple weeks ago. He's done a nice job, and you mentioned McDuffie and Wilson have been very steady for this crew. We will dive into the favorite game of John Anderson, yes or no, with Jason Wilde. Coming up next on Green Bay Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
We're back with Green Bay Game Day after this on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Ewald Automotive Group's year-end sale is here, and we're saying yes to the lowest prices of the year on over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles. Yes to 0% financing, no money down, and no payments till March 2025. With Ewald's exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new vehicle, and Ewald's guaranteed lowest price. Say yes to our biggest savings of the year through year-end at every Ewald location.
Go to EwaldAuto.com.
To approve credit on select models, interest accrues from date of purchase. Offer expires month end.
Green and gold fans, it's game day. And you know what that means. Tailgating with friends and raising a glass to our favorite team. This season, make Bacardi the star of your pregame party. Whether you're mixing up a classic Bacardi and cola, refreshing Bacardi lime and soda, or a smooth spiced and cola, Bacardi is the perfect pick for game day fun. Grab a bottle and get ready to cheer on Green Bay with the best in hand. Available now at your local retailer. Live passionately, drink responsibly. Bacardi USA, Miami, Florida. Rum 40% alcohol by volume.
Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy here. Don't let the chilly weather end your golf season. X-Golf and American Family Field is open all year round. They've got innovative and accurate golf simulators, all overlooking left field at AmFam Field. Enjoy daily lunch specials or have an outing with your friends and take in X-Golf's full bar and food menus. X-Golf AmFam Field is even offering golf lessons by a PGA Pro. Everyone is welcome at X-Golf AmFam. Book your sim today. XGolfAmFamField.com. I'll see you out there.
Life's busy, and Quick Trip gets it. Whether you're grabbing fresh coffee, a bakery treat, or a quick meal, Quick Trip is your go-to for quality and fast service. From clean restrooms to fresh groceries, easy meal options, and guaranteed fuel, we make your day easier. Plus, enjoy perks like free ATMs, free air for your tires, and sweet rewards with the Quick Rewards program. Everything you need in one stop, and always a friendly, see you next time, Quick Trip, where your day gets easier and better.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. It's simple. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. And again, you can win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join now, because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Power your life with a generator from Adams, Wisconsin's #1 rated Generac dealer. Adams provides sales, installation, maintenance, and 24/7 service from all locations. Learn why Adams is your best choice in providing power peace of mind. Visit adamspower.com today.
This is Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
This holiday season, the Salvation Army needs your help. Every dollar donated helps to provide meals, shelter, and emergency support to local families in crisis. Not just at Christmas, but all year long. Join us in making a difference. Visit salvationarmywi.org to donate today. That's salvationarmywi.org. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel with you from the Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All Studios at the Avenue downtown Milwaukee. Super Bowl champion Bryan Bulaga with us from sunny Florida. John Anderson back in Missouri, getting ready for his first semester at the University of Missouri coming up in a couple of weeks. And Jason Wilde with us at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. We've got the lower 48 covered, people, here on Green Bay Game Day, which is presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. And we've got you covered because I know what you've been waiting for. It's time for Yes or No with Jason Wilde.
Will today be the day there are black and white answers from our most respected journalist?
Possibly. I think we shouldn't be greedy. Maybe. You would certainly hope so.
It's time for Yes or No with Jason Wilde.
So I struggled with writing this first question. I have about 3 different versions of it written on my sheet today, but I landed on this in relation to Jordan Love. First question for the crew. Jason, we'll start with you. Yes or no, Jordan Love is the better quarterback in today's matchup?
What were the other versions of this question?
Based off Matt LaFleur's quote last week, Jordan Love is playing the best football of his career was a version of this question. Yes or no? And then a couple others I don't even want to share with the class. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Well, you were workshopping them. Look, Sam Darnold's passer rating is appreciably higher. He's thrown more touchdowns. He's thrown, I think, the same number of picks. I'm not going to slander Sam Darnold and say that Jordan Love is the better quarterback in today's game. I don't know if he is or not. I don't know if I was building a franchise, I wouldn't pick Sam Darnold over Jordan Love based on where each of them are at in their careers. But, you know, again, if his name was Sam Strouf and he had no history with the
would have been my name if I was a girl. Fun fact, Samantha would have been my name. I would have been Samantha Strouf.
I don't know what to do with that.
Just keep going like you didn't say anything, Jason.
Bottom line is that the stench of being a Jets quarterback and the struggles that organization creates for seemingly everyone who plays the position for them are stuck to him. And so we think of him, we hear his name, and we have a preconceived notion of him. The guy's played really, really well. And he's played really well for Kevin O'Connell, who has done a fantastic job with him and did a fantastic job with Kirk Cousins, who got benched at his subsequent team. So is Sam Darnold the greatest quarterback in NFL history? No. I'll give you that as a yes or no answer.
Sure.
But with him playing in this offense with these weapons for this coach, he's a damn good quarterback. And we'll see if Jordan Love can win a duel with him if it comes into that today.
Before I get to John Anderson, the way I know I'm winning this segment is I got a full-blown facepalm from John Anderson before he even answered the first question. And Bulaga shook his head. No, that's winning to me. John Anderson.
That's definitely losing.
Yes or no, Jordan Love, the better QB in today's matchup?
First off, if your parents tell you what your other name would have been, gender tells you they wanted a daughter. My mother has never told me what my name would be if I had been a girl. It's just never come up. She's like, good, I got the boy. Like, if your parents tell you that, they were looking for something else, and they settled on the other side.
Thank you for breaking that news today. I'm
sure there's an EPA part in your benefits where you can contact therapy on this thing, but that's a bad sign. So we move on.
Thanks,
I don't even
John.
know what the question is. Listen, I don't. So some people use the NFL quarterback rating. Some of us still are in the QBR, even though I can't figure out what QBR is. And Jordan loves.
It's just because you're a good company man, John.
It's higher. Well, one time I got a guy ran out late and he had the QBR and because it was new, and instead of putting it was based on 100, he had put an extra 0 in, and so somebody's QBR was 69 based on 1,000, and I'm like, wow. Guy Bonds, who was one of the great researchers we had, so I used to always say, and QBR is based on 1 million. I don't know right now what those is. Listen, there's got to be something to what he does with quarterbacks. Talking about Kevin O'Connell, because when they won 13 games with Cousins, it looked like smoke and mirrors because they were all one possession, and now he's won 13 with Sam Darnold. You go like, nobody can win with Sam Darnold. So he must be doing something right because those are still really good. And Sam won 13 games as a starter his whole time as a Jet. So I'm kind of with Jason. I don't want to get down on this guy. I've got renewed respect for what that cat can do. I just know today that if they're going to win, Jordan Love needs to be the better quarterback.
No doubt. I'm 100% with you.
I would couch it that way. And I would think as we named all the weapons that they're dealing with the Vikings, wide receiver, Aaron Jones, and Hopkins, that the best way to limit all of them would be to limit Sam Darnold.
Yep.
Right? Limit the head of that thing, and then the other 4 guys are a lot easier to take care of.
Yeah, you get after him. He'll make mistakes.
Yeah. So
right?
They need to take care of that, right? Sam will throw it to you. He'll pitch it to you a little bit. So if they can do that, but Jordan Love has to be the better player. And then they'll have that. And then again, I'm sort of sorry about the whole Samantha comment. That was probably a little bit too much to handle during the holiday season. So
it's the most down I've felt during the holiday season. You're really beating me while I'm down here, John. Taking that one to heart. Bryan Bulaga, you going to give me a yes or no on this? Jordan Love, the better quarterback in today's matchup?
I mean, I don't know if I can give you an answer because Jason kind of said it. I mean, if you're looking at pure statistics, Darnold's technically the better quarterback this year if we're looking at pure statistics. And if you're thinking with your heart as a Green Bay Packer fan, of course you're going to say Jordan Love's the better quarterback, right? I guess but if we're looking at this thing as purely statistics, we got to give Sam Darnold his due. And that's, I guess, the way I'm looking at it. Do I think Sam Darnold is a way better quarterback than Jordan Love? No, I don't. I don't think that. But he's played really well. And like I've said from the start, the way he's playing isn't like a fluke. If he would have done it for 5 games, I got pretty lucky, but he's going to come back down to reality. Well, he hasn't come back down to reality, and he continues to do it and do it and do it. So, there's something to it. And at the same time, Jordan Love now is starting to play like Jordan Love that we saw last year. So, they're both playing at a high level. And to me, is there way more potential in Jordan Love's game? Of course there is. Obviously there is. Jordan Love, younger, a lot more upside to his game and what he can do, and I get all that. But if we're talking right now in the now, Sam Darnold's from a overall standpoint, how he's played this year, you got to give him his due. But I'm with John though. If Green Bay's going to win, Jordan Love has to be the better QB today.
100% agree. Gabe?
Jordan Love is better, but Sam Darnold, especially over the last 6 games, since the bye, Jordan Love playing fantastic football. Oh, man, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Well, you need to give that love to Sam Darnold just as well. In the last 6 games for Jordan, he's completing 66% of his passes, 9 touchdowns, 1 pick. Sam Darnold, 65% of his passes, 15 touchdowns, 1 pick.
Wow.
They are separated by 0.2 in quarterback rating.
Wow.
In these last 6 games, Jordan Love, 113.8. Sam Darnold is 113.6.
Yeah, so the reason... great point. The reason I wrote this question is because I don't know if every Packer fan realizes how good Sam Darnold has been this year for the Vikings, despite their really impressive 13-2 record. So, it's a tougher question than we thought it would be.
He's been every bit as good as Jordan Love the last 6 weeks.
Totally agree. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Question 2, yes or no? Edgerrin Cooper, the most valuable linebacker on the Packers roster at this point, Jason?
First of all, I just want to say I don't wear Packers gear because I'm not a Packers fan, but the Lindy Infante era baseball hat that Gabe is wearing wins out over the Lombardi era John Anderson hats, and by a wide margin for some reason for me. Maybe I just have fond memories of Makowski,
the Magic
Sharp on fourth down. I don't know what it is, but that's a really good look for you. Look, I think what's great about Edger and Cooper is that they have found the sweet spot of playing him just the right amount where he can have an impact and be really good, and not have him on the field too much to the point where he is there to be exposed to make mistakes in the game, right? And, somebody asked Jeff Hafley about this on Thursday, and, can you get even more out of Edgerrin Cooper? And Jeff Hafley's like, well, he's been the defensive player of the week twice in the last, month, so...
I mean, there's 2 more weeks where he didn't win it. Yeah, 2 more weeks where he didn't win it. Clearly, you can get more.
So I think what's important and what I really like about how they've utilized him is that, they have not been they haven't done it in a disrespectful way, but they have done the breadcrumb dropping like Hansel and Gretel of this guy. If we play him too much, there's a danger that he's going to miss a line or miss assignment, and we're going to have a big play come out the gate. So right now where he's at, he missed time with injuries. He's a rookie player. We feel really good about where we're utilizing him and how much he's playing. And I think he's been extremely valuable, but, again, I don't want to be out with my pom-poms for Quay Walker, but I'm really curious when he comes back what he's able to do for them, because I really did think he was starting to really get things rolling when he hurt his ankle.
So it sounds like a no to me in terms of most valuable.
Sounds to me like a non-answer, which is the whole point of this game.
John Anderson, give me your non-answer.
Well, first I want to know what he's bird watching, what Jason's eyeing up right now, what he might be looking for.
Christian Watson is out catching balls right now from Malik Willis. He is alongside, I think, Jair Alexander. No, Tavion Wicks and Romeo Dobbs. So we know 2 of those 3 are playing. The fact that Watson is catching balls with them, we'll find out in about 5 minutes whether or not that matters or not, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah, so Tom...
They could go against early reports that were texted me. By the way, who texts an injury update at 7:50 in the morning?
Hey, what's up? What's up, buddy? Hey.
7:50 in the morning.
I mean, and it was a 4-hour... The tweet was 4 hours before that. I was late getting the information to you, John.
My wife's like, well, who's texting you at 7:50? They're like, honey, Christian Watson might not be playing. Just sleep on the couch.
Well, would you prefer a 7:50 text or a 3:50 text?
I prefer here's Wilde going to go, well, let's find out in 5 minutes when the information is ready. I don't need, we've got preheat in the oven. What's the linebacker question? Is he the MVP?
Is he the most valuable?
How do you define most valuable?
It's up to interpretation.
Is he keeping the whole thing together? I'm with you. Like the McDuffie, some of the no-name guys that we are just throwing in there have served really well.
They have.
In what's happening there. Like, let's give some credit. Why do we have to pick out one guy? Don't we work as a unit? It's just like when we talk about the pass rush helps the defensive line. When the defensive line takes up guys, linebackers are free to play. I refuse to be pigeonholed into one guy being more important than anybody else. So the unit's 11 guys. Why you got to single out one guy? I feel like that's mean.
Okay. I'm sorry. My intention was not to be mean like your intention was to be mean at the beginning of the season. Or segment, rather. Yeah. So, hey, bad on me, I guess. All right, let's get to the injury report coming up next, which is presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Is Christian Watson in or out despite early reports? We get you that answer coming up next on Green Bay Game Day.
Early reports.
Stay right here. Green Bay Game Day will be right back on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
'Tis the season for celebrating, so why not make your holiday gathering unforgettable? Give your team or clients an experience they'll talk about long after the new year with V Private Bar Services. Forget the same old office party. With custom cocktails tailored to your brand and a top-notch mixologist team, V Private Bar Services brings the magic of a high-end bar to your event. Make this holiday season extraordinary. Visit vprivatebar.com to book your premier party today. That's vprivatebar.com for your next unforgettable event.
At Cousin Subs, the bigger your smile, the better we feel. That's why our menu features something for everyone, like our Wisconsin cheese curds, golden fries, creamy shakes, and mac and cheese, all paired with your favorite sub or our subs in a bowl. And don't forget our kids' meals, now with a free cookie. Here's to a better day. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Gift giving is easy with an Island Resort and Casino gift card. Every person on your list can spend their time just the way they like it. Dining, going to a concert, relaxing at the Drift Spa, playing golf. No matter the reason, gift cards to the Midwest's premier resort destination are a sure bet. To order gift cards, stop by the Island Club today or call 877-ISL-SHOW. Then spread some joy because everyone knows your total experience is at the Island.
It's time for the Ortho ASAP Minute from Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
Dr. Chris Killian is joining me. Doctor, for people who do need some type of shoulder procedure, what's the benefit to having it done at OAW?
There's a vast array of shoulder issues that different patients can have, depending on what your age is, what your activity level is. So there are things such as unstable shoulders where the shoulder is dislocating, and there's a variety of treatments for that. Very, very common issue as people age are rotator cuff issues or arthritis. So we have pretty set and standard treatments that there is a difference when you come to us, especially, we do all arthroscopic rotator cuff repair surgeries, really advanced shoulder replacement surgeries where we use a navigation system when we perform the shoulder replacement that allows us to more accurately place the components that should hopefully then make them last longer. So we do have some very advanced options that are very unique to our group and allow us to kind of set ourselves apart compared to other people.
The Ortho ASAP Minute is sponsored by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Ho, 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 my back.
Santa?
Ho, 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 Gina Della from Pella. You've been a good girl this year.
Is that why you're in here building new windows?
Yes. Next year, how about just asking for a Pella gift card? My elves are used to designing windows from other places where they're all pretty much the same. But Pella? Ho, 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 so many customizations and designs. My elves aren't qualified, so Santa has to put in some overtime. Ho,
Let me make a call. BRB.
Frighteningly fast Pella team at your service. Let us take it from here, Mr. Claus. And Gina, next time.
Yeah, I know. Santa already lectured me. Ask for a Pella gift card.
What if you need new windows or doors, but you're on the naughty list?
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get as low as $19 per window and $81 per patio door per month.
Ho, ho, ho! Visit the Pella site, and to all a good night.
PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply ends 12/31/2024.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance, like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Wrapping up the Jason Wilde hour of Green Bay Game Day, leading you up to kickoff. Packers-Vikings, a 3:25 kick at U.S. Bank Stadium. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel, John Anderson, Super Bowl champ Bryan Bulaga with you here on Green Bay Game Day, which is presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. And today's injury report is presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. Visit orthowisconsin.com today for info. The early report seemingly correct, Jason Wilde, as Christian Watson officially ruled out today for the Packers, among some other guys.
Yeah, Flus, you got that right. The inactives for the Packers are Quay Walker, Christian Watson, Jair Alexander, who was already ruled out like Quay Walker was, Evan Williams, who was also ruled out earlier, Andre Dillard, who's in the concussion protocol, and Omar Brown, who was called up from the practice squad. But they don't need him today because Javon Bullard is active. So Brian knows everything. I don't know much, but I know that he's active. And that was a little bit of a surprise to me. So that is your lineup, but no Christian Watson today. But I'm sure the way they were talking about him and the fact that they even considered it a possibility that he could go today, it's a good sign that he'll be ready for next week and ready for the playoffs.
Blue is smirking from ear to ear, knowing he called that Javon Bullard thing spot on. Nicely done, Brian.
I mean, I'm blind squirrel every now and then, but normally, I mean, and Jason, he said it, I get that Goody was just walking by, but normally the GM doesn't walk by a guy warming up. Normally that doesn't work that way. That's an intentional walk by to see what's going on. That's normally an intentional walk by. So, but in the future, Jason, when you got those binocs, that's something to look for, to see if Goody is walking by a guy that's warming up. That'll give you an indication.
But what are we seeing in the binocs, Jay Wilde?
Well, Christian Watson's still catching passes, so somebody should let him know that he stopped playing.
He must not have read the press release quite yet. Jason, as we always do before we let you go, obviously it's a good one. Packers-Vikings, that line has moved all over both ways this week. How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I don't know enough about betting. My understanding was that lines move based on the money that's coming in. And so if the money was coming in heavily on one direction, then they move it the other direction. So, look, to me, this is a toss-up game between two really good football teams. And, as Tausch talked about during the week, once upon a time, the Packers played the Vikings in a late-season game, beat them, but then they came to Lambeau Field and beat the Packers in the Randy Moss fake moon game, if you recall that one. And that was the one that mattered because that was the win or go home game. So, I don't think that I think despite what we were talking about earlier in terms of getting a feel for what they're capable of in the postseason, going on the road, hostile environment against good teams. Hey, there's Rob Domofsky right there. There he is, right there.
Hey, Rob.
The guys all say hello. Despite what we were talking about earlier, I don't think the outcome of this game matters all that much. Like, if the Packers lose 34-31, are you going to feel differently about them? If they win 34-31, are you going to feel differently about them? If they lose 31-10, I'm pretty sure you're going to feel differently about them. But otherwise, I think you feel like both of these teams are good teams. They may not cross paths in the postseason, but they're both headed there, and they both have a lot to prove once they get there. They are not the favorites in this conference. So I'm just looking forward to an entertaining, close game and a really good storyline.
Look, I don't want to speak for John and Gabe, but they both said early on in the show, they've got to win today because they've got to prove it they could do it in the postseason. So I think even with a 34-31 loss, both of those guys would feel differently.
Yes, it makes a difference to me. Makes a difference to me. But, I'm not brunching in Minnesota right now and don't have quite the feel. So, what can I say?
It's a kitty cocktail. Shirley Temple.
Well, but a kitty what? In the okay.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
I brought my own bubbler drinks.
Oh, okay. And poured them into a plastic cup.
Well, yeah, I needed the ice. You're way behind on schedule. Don't be talking about my drink. Talk football.
It is. Yeah, the hours are going over. I don't know if anybody's got a clock on this thing.
No, I do. It's 2:05, 34 seconds. See you, Jason. Jason Wilde, you'll hear him on the postgame show. You hear him tomorrow, Wilde and Tausch, 9 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin. Take care. Be good. The four of us roll on with you on Green Bay Game Day right after this on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ. Bye, Jason.
More Green Bay Game Day coming up on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
Are you looking for reliable transportation this holiday season? I've got you covered. It's Jen Latta from ESPN Milwaukee, and with holiday parties, family gatherings, and year-end events on the horizon, I trust AccuTrans Group to handle all of my private transportation needs. Whether it's a corporate function or festive celebration, AccuTrans gets me there safely and on time. As a veteran-owned business, they pride themselves on top-notch service that you can count on. Booking is easy, stress-free, and reliable. Just visit AccuTransGroup.com to reserve your holiday ride today. That's AccuTransGroup.com.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
I'm very familiar with Gruber Law offices because they're always out in the community.
Gruber Law offices are known to be honest, hardworking.
They're always involved in our neighborhoods.
Gruber Law offices make our community a better place.
They are the best. For nearly 40 years, Gruber Law offices has helped people throughout Wisconsin. If you're injured, we're here to help. One call, that's all.
Wisconsin would not be the same without Gruber Law offices.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice double gold medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at Tito'sVodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Ready for a win? Well, it's your year. At Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, you could win over $2,000 in free play every month all year long. Just play your favorite games and you might take the stage in the It's Your Year game show. 25 winners each Thursday. There's $300,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs this January. Yeah, we think it's your year. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old to play.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority with the latest technologies at their state-of-the-art Brookfield office. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. And now, Holtebeck Eye Center is excited to add Dr. Nausheen Abbas to their team. Dr. Abbas is an ophthalmologist and cornea specialist that is now available to see patients. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol, learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Power your life with a generator from Adams, Wisconsin's #1 rated Generac dealer. Adams provides sales, installation, maintenance, and 24/7 service from all locations. Learn why Adams is your best choice in providing power peace of mind. Visit adamspower.com today.
Hey, this is Gabe Neitzel. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Party people! It's time to get this tailgate started and get you ready for the green and gold game. This is Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. Now broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside Gabe Neitzel, ESPN legend John Anderson, and green and gold legend Bryan Bulaga. Here's Alex Strouf.
Away we go, the final hour, Green Bay Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin here on ESPN Milwaukee and 620 WTMJ. Available to watch. You can see our Ugly Mugs on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee, at ESPN Madison. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel, John Anderson, Bryan Bulaga with you. I mentioned it with Jason. This line has moved a little bit. It opened initially as Minnesota 1.5-point favorites. It has now moved and is still the Packers as a 1-point favorite. So essentially, it's a toss-up. It's a coin flip, as Vegas views it.
It's moved multiple times, though.
Both directions,
both
right?
directions, yeah. Because at this point yesterday, I believe it was still Minnesota -1.
So essentially what that means is we don't know who's going to win.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I mean, but that's good. That's fun. That's an intriguing game here in Week 17. And as we've mentioned, the noon slate has none of those. So obviously this being America's Game of the Week has quite the intrigue with the Packers as 1-point favorites. But I got to be honest with you, I feel better than that. The way I've seen the Packers play the last few weeks, and I'm not discounting what Minnesota is capable of, I think the Packers could win this by a touchdown. And I think they will win it by a touchdown. I think this is the opportunity to go on the road in a hostile environment like they had a few weeks ago in Seattle. If you start fast and your defense continues to play the way it has been, you could win this in a 31-24 shootout. And that's kind of how I see this one playing out. And I know Brian's also feeling in the direction of, I think they're going to get it done today. Gabe, I mean, as the line says, it could go either way, but I might be overly confident for once in my life.
And look, I think, again, Watson being out certainly does not help this team. The fact that Javon Bullard is in there helps a little bit on the defensive side. I'm really curious the answers that the Packers come up with if the Vikings are able to shut down Josh Jacobs. Because a couple of weeks ago, after they went on the road and beat Seattle, I wanted them to step on the throats of the Seahawks. And they didn't. And they didn't. They came out in the second half, and they struggled. And what did Seattle do? They stopped the run with Josh Jacobs, and Jordan Love, after starting like 16 for 17, it's like 3 for 9. So they shut down the run, and subsequently they shut down Jordan Love. That's really been the one team that's been able to do that in the stretch that they've had. And if Minnesota comes out and shuts down Josh Jacobs, the Packers have to have answers for it, and Jordan Love has to have answers for it. That's what I'm excited to see, if this team can grow and learn from that second half against Seattle and have those answers ready to go against a team that you know is bringing pressure. And, oh, by the way, we talk about the Packers turnovers. This Vikings defense just as opportunistic.
Yeah, the way you're reflecting on the Seattle game, though, makes me ask this. Did anything from Monday's win matter to you? The 34-0 shutout over the Saints. Did anything from that game matter to you in terms of what you've learned about the Packers?
No, I mean, you did what you're supposed to do in that game.
Yeah.
Against a team that's basically waving the white flag.
And they are, right? I mean, they were injury-riddled up and down.
I mean, they fired their coach. Rattler's, their third quarterback?
Yeah.
You know, that's what you're supposed to do against a team like that. Yes, be impressed with the shutout if you want to be impressed with the shutout, but you're supposed to dominate a team and do it that way. Like, great. I mean, I wanted everybody I thought they could have put Malik Willis in the game earlier. They basically shut down Josh Jacobs early in that third quarter. Fantastic. That's great that you can do that in the middle of the season. That doesn't get me all psyched up ready for them playing the Minnesota Vikings. Like, there's not much I'm taking from that game. They can do this and this and this because they did it against the Saints. No, you just took care of business the way you were supposed to take care of business, and you definitely get credit for that.
I agree with that. The one thing I will point out from what you just said, though, less bumps and bruises on Josh Jacobs.
Yeah,
he's a little bit more fresh for this week in Minnesota.
Especially playing Monday, turning around to a Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt. Short week. Brian, actually on that, I mean, it's a short week, but it's still 6 days. You don't get an off day, I would assume, between Monday and Sunday? That's how that would work, I would guess?
They got brought in on Tuesday, and they probably did a light flush workout.
Okay.
And then they probably just skipped watching that tape, I would imagine, from the Saints game. They probably just moved on from that and did an install and a walkthrough from Minnesota, and then just carried on. And it was probably a light work week, like from pads and stuff like that. They're probably out of shoulder pads by now, but it was probably a lot of jog throughs and a lot of indoor crick walkthrough type things, and then a little bit of field work, but more of a mental week. And that's kind of what you need when you're going up against a defense like this, and then an offensive scheme that O'Connell has with the wide receivers and the running backs and things like that. But they got their field work done, but when you got a short week and you're traveling, it's got to be a lot of mental work. And with this late in the season too, it's a little bit of a balancing act. So, but when you're able to pull your quarterback and you're able to take those carries off your running back in the third quarter and you're able to rest guys and take linemen out of the game, I mean, that really helps tremendously because then you're able to do that, right? You're able to come in on Tuesday and start work immediately. You're not having to take a true day off and just have guys rehab and get their bodies right to come back on Wednesday. And then it's a really tight, condensed week. So, I mean, that's probably the one positive I take away from the Saints game was that, yes, I get Watson got hurt. That's not what we wanted. I understand that. But for the majority of it, walked away pretty healthy on a short week.
Yeah, no doubt. Really good point by you. John, same question I asked Gabe to you. Did you learn anything about the Packers in Monday night's win?
Yeah, I learned that they can, when they need to, they can just whip that ass, which is what they needed to do, right? Like I agree with everything everybody has said. As you know, I sent you guys a little note about what I thought of Spence Rattler's capability of playing the position, and but you still have to go out and do that. You still have to make sure they don't score in backups and garbage time and all those things. So, yeah, I came away impressed. I thought it was a pretty complete performance in what you need to do, right? Like, okay, it's one thing, that's what you expect, but to actually do it and do it that convincingly, yeah, I came away with that. I thought it set them up in a lot of ways to play well here. I think some of the points Bryan makes are well taken for those of us that are not in the locker room. But I'm like, okay, no film watch. Okay, listen, as somebody who had a chance to watch a lot of film, I never did because I'm like, if it's bad, I don't wish to watch how bad it is again. And if it was good, I'm like, I have no desire to see it again. You're playing an opponent you've seen a bunch, right? So you're kind of familiar with these guys. You have to work. There's a lot of things that you know about them already that you don't have to go through. So I thought there's some things that help them going into this short week against the Vikings. I just think so much of it, and I will, as I wasn't able to express other than with a nod of the head or a disapproving, dismissive look of Jason Wilde. I think it's huge if they win or if they lose, regardless of which way they come out of this thing. So, I thought they proved that they are a team on the rise, that they are a team that is gaining confidence. They are a team that is sort of really established a bit now. We are a run-first team. We can play physically, offensively. We can shut somebody down, even if they're horrible, but we can do it for all 60 minutes. And now let's go try that on and see how it fits in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the one thing I really want to see that I feel like we haven't seen this season is the Packers get in a fist fight, right? Be in a close game throughout and beat a good team. Hang on to beat a good team. They kind of did that against Houston, but we just watched Houston lose to Baltimore 31-2, so I don't really know how good they are. I know Minnesota's a good team. So I'd like to see kind of a back and forth, win it on the road, hang on and win, because we just haven't seen that yet.
And it's what they did in Detroit. Obviously, ended up on the wrong side of it because they were able to, dug themselves an early hole, came back, took the lead in the second half.
Give me a game like that, but win.
On. Yeah.
That's what I would like to see today. I mean, obviously, if they win in dominant fashion, if they go up 17-0 and roll to a victory, sure, that's great, right? You beat a good team on the road, but I'd kind of prefer. I think it'd make me feel better about what's to come in the coming weeks if it's more back and forth and the Packers find a way to win late in the fourth quarter. Like, that's what I would like to see. I don't know if that's the wrong way to look at this, but it's something that I think this season has lacked.
I'm not going to be picky about the win.
Just win, baby?
Yeah, if they win 31-10, I'm not going to be like, oh, man, they didn't win the way Strouf won it.
No.
So I am just in any... Because you got to prove that you can win these games. You're going to have to, because again, if you lose this game, you're going to have to go on the road more than likely to Philadelphia, who's getting closer to locking up that number 2 seed. So if they lose
today, specifically for you and John, who would feel differently if they about their chances in the postseason if they lose. If they lose today, do you drop it to like a 1% chance they could make the Super Bowl?
It's not high for me. I don't know how John feels, but I was just kind of taking a look back, and if they don't win the game today, that means they would have 2 wins all season long against teams that made the playoffs. That would be presumably the Rams, that they win the NFC West, and the Houston Texans. The year that Bulaga and that crew went to the Super Bowl, they went 3-3 against playoff teams. And one of those losses was against the New England Patriots, where they had to start Matt Flynn. Still almost won that game. And then, oh, by the way, beat the number 2 seed at home in a win-and-get-in game. So there were some pretty high-profile matchups that they won. Unfortunate that Aaron got hurt when he did. That led to back-to-back losses that put their backs up against the wall that they eventually overcame. But everyone keeps bringing up, 2010, they were a wild card. I just feel that 2010 team was wildly different than the team that we're looking at this year.
Yeah, I think it's something Bryan brought up earlier, right? Like there was obviously some young pieces. Bryan was one of them, and they over-delivered. They were the last team in the playoffs, and they went on the road and beat some really good teams and ultimately won the Super Bowl. But I think why fans desperately draw comparisons, including me, to that 2010 team, A, is because they won the Super Bowl. B, because they were in a similar spot that the Packers are in right now. And the quarterback was still on his way up, right? It was only year 3 for Aaron Rodgers. He hadn't won a playoff game at that point. Jordan Love has, but he's only in his second year as a starter. So I think that's why the comparison is drawn so much, specifically at that position, is because it was these franchise quarterbacks still on the rise. This was prior to Rodgers winning his first MVP award. And I think that's why I go to it. And obviously, for the first part, the last time they won the Super Bowl.
But those are two different guys. I think you can look at both Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love in the same number of games they started, given that they had these great apprenticeships.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers is a different cat than Jordan Love.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So I think that makes a big difference in here. Every once in a while, I still watch Jordan Love, and I think he throws off that back foot and puts the balls kind of in harm's way, and he gets lucky as well as he's played here. I just think, but I think if you're basing it kind of on those similarities, those two guys at this stage of their career are not similar at all, regardless of what accolades had or had not come Aaron Rodgers' way at that point. I think he was way, way, way farther along in what you're looking at.
Look, I fully agree with you, John, because and maybe we haven't done this enough the last few years, given some of the stuff that's gone on with Rodgers. The dude is one of the best quarterbacks.
Today, by the way, which has just been awful.
Yeah, we just watched him throw an interception. So
not only did he throw an interception, he got flagged for unnecessary roughness after.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Late shove out of bounds. Yeah.
Oh, good for him. Yeah, he's clearly happy. But regardless, I mean, he is one of the best quarterbacks ever, most talented quarterbacks ever, and that was on full display in 2010, and then onward. And obviously, Bryan Bulaga had a front row seat to that, leading up to that Super Bowl back in 2010. How important is the win today, Bryan? I know players, and we've talked about this before. Players don't say, "Hey, you need a quote unquote signature win," but to get that momentum, to get the momentous win, like the Packers did last year, right? Beating the Chiefs and Lions in back-to-back weeks. Other way around, Lions and Chiefs back-to-back games. Gabe mentioned 3-3 against playoff teams in 2010. How important to this is it for the psyche of this team? Would it win
I
today?
think it's important. I really do. I think it's important, and just for the fact that they already know as a team that they're going to have to do, if they want to get to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to do it on the road. And for us, when we were doing it in 2010, we just wanted to try to get in, right? We're just hey, we got to try to win all these just to even get into this thing. So we weren't even worried about going on the road at that point. It was just fighting to get into the tournament. This team knows they're in the tournament, and they know they're going to have to go on the road to do it. So you might as well start preparing yourself and getting confidence that you can go do it on the road. And that starts with this one. And this is the type of environment you're going to have to go do it in, right? I mean, if you don't win this one, you're going to have to go to a very tough environment in Philly to go do it. And then believe me, I've played playoff games there. I've played big games there. That's not a great environment to go play a playoff game in. It's just not. It's not the city of brotherly love. We'll just put it that way. They're not very nice there. It's not a good place. And then say you get it done there, right? Then you're probably heading back to Detroit or Minnesota, whatever it may be, right? You're going back to a division opponent. So you just look at what if you win this football game, what that does for your psyche. So that's why I'm with John and Gabe. It's a very big game from that standpoint of what this does for the football team from a mentality standpoint, and what it could do for them going into this thing. So I don't like signature wins. I like mentality wins, like
sure.
what it does for the mentality of the football team. And I think that's what a win today would do. Like, gives this team that extra bit of swagger going into the postseason.
I really like mentality wins. I think that's what I will use going forward when we refer to big games. Mentality wins more so than signature wins. That's a good call by Bryan Bulaga. John Anderson, Gabe Neitzel, Alex Strouf with you here on Green Bay Game Day. Is Philly the last place you want to go in terms of the NFC playoffs?
To start, yeah.
Yeah. To start it, yeah, for sure.
I think listen, overall, even. Detroit, obviously.
I don't know if
I would. I mean, to be honest, I'd rather go to Detroit than Philly.
I agree.
I mean, I'd rather. I mean,
is that because of Detroit's defense being so beat up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I'm watching. I mean, I got the Philly game on right now, and I get Dallas is beat up, but Philly's playing good. I mean, they're on their third string quarterback, and he's
dropping dimes.
And they're putting up points like it's nothing. So, like, they know they're running the ball with Saquon, and he's still ripping off 15 yards a carry. So, like, they're a tough out. They're a really tough out. Their offensive line's really good. Their wide receivers are really good. Their defensive line is really good. Like, they're for real. So, like, to go there week one and try to beat them is going to be a difficult task. And I don't envy the 7 seed to go do that. That wasn't what we had to face when we went there in 2010. Like, yeah, it was Mike Vick. It was a good team.
Mm-hmm.
It was, they were a good team, but that's not what this is a different challenge, right? Like, this isn't that type of challenge. So, like, being a 7 and going to that 2 is not the same. So I'm just putting that out there.
Well said. End of the third quarter in that one. Eagles lead the Cowboys 34-7. Gabe mentioned it. Tanner McKee, the Stanford alum, is in at quarterback for the Eagles as Kenny Pickett injured and removed from that game. McKee, though, 2 of 3, 29 yards and a touchdown. So not bad for his NFL debut in Philly. But that is a really, really good football team on their way to becoming 13-3. We will take a look at some of our best bets, which are presented by the Island Resort and Casino. Coming up next, it's Green Bay Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
More Green Bay Game Day coming up on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
For over 4 decades, one name has stood out as a symbol of excellence in automotive sales and service. It's the Boucher Automotive Group, dedicated to providing exceptional experiences to all of our valued customers.
We will help you find the perfect vehicle within your budget while respecting your time.
With 20 convenient locations, we're the one-stop destination for all your automotive needs.
At Boucher, we're your trusted partner on every mile of your journey, riding with you every mile since 1977.
If you want to win at tailgating, you need to Boatify your beverage choice. Boaty Wine is the ultimate addition to your tailgate party. This premium wine comes in an eco-friendly box, fitting perfectly in your cooler or trunk. And there's no heavy glass or corkscrew to deal with. One 3-liter Boda box is the equivalent of 4 bottles of wine, so it's great for sharing. Bring the wine that wins with wine critics, where there's quality in every sip. Boda Box. Be open to anything. Please drink responsibly. Must be 21 or older. Boda Box Vineyards, Manteca, California.
Gift giving is easy with an Island Resort and Casino gift card. Every person on your list can spend their time just the way they like it. Dining, going to a concert, relaxing at the Drift Spa, playing golf. No matter the reason, gift cards to the Midwest premier resort destination are a sure bet. To order gift cards, stop by the Island Club today or call 877-ISL-SHOW. Then spread some joy, because everyone knows your total experience is at the Island.
Light up the new year with help from Menards. Explore our lighting showroom and find your style with our great selection of Patriot Lighting ceiling lights. We have a variety of styles and finishes to choose from, including color temperature options to create the perfect ambiance for any occasion. Right now, all stock flush mount ceiling lights are on sale. View the weekly flyer and all of our great deals happening this week today on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
Life's busy, and Quick Trip gets it. Whether you're grabbing fresh coffee, a bakery treat, or a quick meal, Quick Trip is your go-to for quality and fast service. From clean restrooms to fresh groceries, easy meal options, and guaranteed fuel, we make your day easier. Plus, enjoy perks like free ATMs, free air for your tires, and sweet rewards with the Quick Rewards program. Everything you need in one stop, and always a friendly, see you next time, Quick Trip, where your day gets easier and better.
Ho, 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 my back.
Santa?
Ho, 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 Gina Della from Pella. You've been a good girl this year.
Is that why you're in here building new windows?
Yes. Next year, how about just asking for a Pella gift card? My elves are used to designing windows from other places where they're all pretty much the same. But Pella? Ho, 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 so many customizations and designs. My elves aren't qualified, so Santa has to put in some overtime. Ho,
Let me make a call. BRB.
Frighteningly fast pellet team at your service. Let us take it from here, Mr. Claus. And Gina, next time.
Yeah, I know. Santa already lectured me. Ask for a Pella gift card.
What if you need new windows or doors, but you're on the naughty list?
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get as low as $19 per window and $81 per patio door per month.
Ho, ho, ho! Visit the Pella site, and to all a good night.
PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply. Ends 12/31/2024.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You're listening to Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Well, of note here in the noon slate of NFL games, the Indianapolis Colts, who are technically still alive for the postseason, just failed a beautiful two-point conversion try to tie it up with the Giants, who now lead 28-26 over the Colts. Colts technically still alive in the wild card race. Going to need a lot of help in the AFC. The Giants, by the way, currently do hold the number one pick in the NFL draft. They would eliminate themselves from that conversation with a win today. They are up 2 points in the fourth quarter. So one thing of note in this noon slate, which is very ugly. Green Bay Game Day with you here. ESPN Milwaukee, 620 WTMJ, and on YouTube. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel, John Anderson, Bryan Bulaga with you. Time now to look at some of our best bets, which are brought to you by our friends at the Island Resort and Casino, which is a premier resort destination, the largest north of Milwaukee, with everything you like to do in one awesome location. Visit islandresortandcasino.com. Jordan Love, I don't think he's thrown for 300 yards yet this year. He's at 252.5 today, which is just like the perfect line for him.
Threw for like 350 against the Vikings last time.
Oh, that's right, because they were only throwing the ball. It was that, but I think that's his only 300-yard game, right? Yeah. 252 today, so about 100 less than what he did the last weekend of September. Where do you land on this one, Gabe? 252.5.
I'm going to take the under. I think even though the Vikings are very good at stopping the run, I think the Packers are going to find the way to continue to feed Josh Jacobs and get him the football, and he's going to dominate. I think it's going to be right around that number, but I don't want him to have a 389-yard game, because to me that means they're down 21-0 the way they were down 28-0 at home to this Vikings team. I think Matt LaFleur has learned lessons about getting and keeping Josh Jacobs involved throughout the course of this season, and they are not going to give up on the run with Jacobs.
It seems like you're worried that they will.
I'm not.
Give up. Okay.
Oh, in years past, yeah. In years past, I have been. And against Detroit, I think that's a lesson that LaFleur learned. I don't know if he just overthought it going into that game of, oh, they know we're going to run the football, so we're going to try to throw it early. And, they started with empty possessions in the first three before they started working their way back. Since then, it's been Jacobs early. It's been Jacobs often. I don't think they go away from
imposing their will on the opposing defenses. And it's worked out really well, right? Last 2 weeks, they've scored on each of their first three drives, each of the last 2 weeks. Obviously, against Detroit. Prior to that, it was punt, fumble on their first three drives, and they still almost won that game. So hopefully LaFleur has learned his lesson. John Anderson, 252.5 passing yards for Jordan Love.
Yeah, by the way, I love the idea of let's win the toss and put the offense out. I hate the
I do
deferral.
too.
I think, much like the 2-point, I think people messed that up. So I have a lot of thoughts on analytics in NFL, and I really should be employed by a team like that, right? Not only why don't we go ahead and we won the toss, we've elected to score, now we're playing from in front. But doesn't it seem curious if everybody thinks, oh, if you kick off, then I have a chance to have the ball at the end of the half, right? And then I come up for 2 for 1. Well, doesn't it, on the flip side, then if you kick off to start the second, then I have last possession at the end of the half. Wouldn't I want the last possession if it comes down to that? I'd much rather have the possession at the end of the game than I would at halftime. But anyway.
That's Anderson Analytics, baby. Anderson Analytics.
I do. I feel like this is a Josh Jacobs game where he gets a bunch, but it's one of these where he might go 21 for like 65 yards, which is part of the reason I also love that guy is he still sticks his nose in there between the tackles, even if it's going to be for 2 yards or 3 yards, because he knows there's like a greater good coming. And because of that, then that's going to let Love do his business. So I'm going to go over. Usually I go under on his yardage total. I'm gonna say he will throw for more than that. But I think, again, they'll pump it to Jacobs a bunch. I don't know that he's effective in terms of what's his total yardage, but I think his effectiveness is tied up in how many times you get it to him all the time. Granted, like if it's 21 for 4 yards, maybe not. But as long as he's kind of plowing and grinding forward, then I think it's good. But I think then that opens up, and I think Love throws for a bunch today. A bunch.
252.5. We go to the right tackle. We run blocking or pass blocking today?
I'm going with the over. I think we're pass blocking today because I think they're going to have to throw Minnesota out of what they're going to be determined to do, and that's stop the Packers from running the football. So I don't think LaFleur's going to bail on the run game. I don't think that's going to be something that he does. I think he learned from that earlier on. Like I think, Gabe, you said it against Detroit. I think he learned from that. But there's going to be a point in time where you're just going to be beating your head up against a wall, and you're going to have to throw Minnesota out of a certain look and open them up a little bit. And I think for me, 252, I think Jordan Love's going to need to win the game. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth type game, probably a 280 to 320 type game from Jordan Love. Because I think if we're looking at Darnold, he's probably going to be in that ballpark too with those wideouts and tight ends. So, I'm going to take the over on it.
Yeah, Darnold's is a bit higher. That's a 269.5. But we keep talking about Josh Jacobs. It's interesting how this one has varied week to week. He's been right around all-purpose, somewhere between 100 and 110 yards per game. He's down to 91.5 all-purpose, 70.5 for his rushing yard total today. But let's take a look at that all-purpose one, 91.5, Gabe.
I'm taking the over because when you take a look at what the wide receivers have done since the bye, I mean, Christian Watson far and away has been the most productive. He's not playing today. Josh Jacobs has been incredibly effective in the passing game since the bye. With him, it's not just been the rushing yards, it's been the receiving yards. I'm taking that over on the total yardage for Josh Jacobs because he's going to be a big part of the game, whether they're turning around and handing it to him or throwing it out in the flat to him.
John, 91.5 the number for your guy, Josh Jacobs.
No. That's like for anybody other than maybe Saquon Barkley. That's just a hard number to get to, man. Like I get 1,000 yards doesn't mean anything in the NFL for season wise anymore, but 100 yards in a game still does. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think the Vikings allow that to happen. I just think they will again, maybe to their detriment if Love kind of throws like I think he could. But I just think that's a stiff number.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I think I'm on the under there as well. But Brian, 91.5.
91.5 all-purpose.
Yep.
I mean, because I think they're going to be so staunch against the run, they're going to have to use Jacobs in the pass game, which I think is going to be important to get him out of the backfield and get him on mismatches against their linebackers. But 91.5 is a lot. Because you're thinking, because I'm looking at it like maybe 55 to 60 rush, and then 40 plus, so like 30 plus in the. I'm going to go under.
I like that we're walking through the thought process out loud. That's very well done.
He would have gone over that number in all but 3 games this year.
Wow.
In all but 3 games, he has gone over that number in terms of
What are the 3 games,
yards
just
from
out of curiosity?
The 3 games, oddly, Tennessee, where he had 48. The first time against Minnesota, where he only rushed it 9 times, still had 78 in that game. And then against Detroit, he didn't have any receptions, carried the ball 18 times for 66 yards. Other than that, he has gone over that total every other time.
Interesting research from the Gabe Neitzel Research Department. So I don't want to give you the props for every receiver. I kind of just want everyone to pick their guy, and then I will give you their yardage total. Because without Christian Watson, who's typically the guy I go to for this game, I really don't know how the love is going to be spread, no pun intended, for the Packers offense today. So, Gabe Neitzel, I start with you. Give me your guy.
I keep leaning towards Dontavian Wicks. They got him the ball last week for that touchdown, although he ended up only having 3 catches for 13 yards. They want to run the football, and when they want to run the football, they put that guy out there because they trust him blocking.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have opportunities.
48.5.
Yee.
It's high.
I'm probably going under that number just because he hasn't been somebody who's gone off and had big numbers. He's had some red zone targets, had a touchdown like he did last week. I don't know if he's going to go over 50 yards this week in receiving.
The money to be made with Dontavian Wicks, looking at it, 3.5 receptions is an interesting number for him.
Yeah, I think I would go
viable.
over that. Yeah, I might go over that.
John Anderson, who's your guy in terms of receiving today? Who are you looking at?
With Watson out, he will go to the place he feels safest.
Yep.
And I think that's Jaden Reed.
You think it's Reed? I was thinking Dobbs when you said that. Jaden Reed is at 53.5.
I think Jaden Reed is still where he feels. I think where he still feels safest is with Jaden Reed.
53.5 in receiving, 58.5 is the all-purpose number.
Book it.
Yep.
Book it. Take it. If he's going to throw for 250 plus, somebody's got to get him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so in that regard, and I get that Watson's not there, but they're still going to throw it, and someone still has to catch it. Otherwise, you'd have all incomplete passes.
That's where I go back to Josh Jacobs. Since the bye, Jacobs has the second most receiving yards behind Christian Watson.
Yeah, he might be the guy, too. If it's not working on the ground, he might be getting it out of the backfield on little screens, which they've done a nice job with the last few weeks. Okay, we've got 2 different answers through 2 different people, right? We've got Reed, we've got Wicks. Bryan Bulaga, you agreeing with one of these guys, or are you going a different direction for who you're looking at?
Dobbs.
That's where I go. That's where my mind went as well. And the number there, lower than Reed. It's 49.5, 3.5 receptions as well.
Over and over on both.
I tend to agree with you. That's where my mind went because while Reed probably has the highest playmaking potential in terms of these guys, it seems like Dobbs has served as Jordan Love's security blanket.
At times.
It's true.
At times.
It's impossible to predict, which is the really fun part about this group. Now, as nice as it would be to have a Devontae Adams or a Jordy Nelson or a Greg Jennings true number 1 guy, you really don't know. And that's a problem for a defensive coordinator. And when you're playing one of the best defensive coordinators, if not the best defensive coordinator in the NFL.
That's one way to spin it.
That's how I spun it.
I look at it as they don't really key on any one guy and they can just play their defense the way that it was intended to, instead of when you have somebody like,
a
Jamar Chase or a Devontae Adams.
Right.
You're going, we got to make sure somebody's shading over and paying attention, which opens up a different hole elsewhere.
Well, to that, with that, though, they are keying someone. They're keying the running back. So when you key a running back, that's opening up
one-on-ones.
That has to open up something in the secondary for wide receivers. So when you're going to play the run, someone has to get nosy down in the box. And when you get nosy down there, that opens up something in the secondary. So, I agree with you that, they're not keying on a wide receiver per se. You're keying on a back. And when you key on a back, that's why early on he is going to run the football because that opens up play action. And when you continue to turn around and put that ball out, that's going to get that safety, Harrison Smith, to fly downhill. And when you get him to fly downhill, you can throw guys in behind him and get Tucker Kraft. You can get all Dobbs and guys to sneak in behind there and get those seam shots. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
That's really good insight. And Brian, as you were saying that, I always think back to Rob Domofsky, who I feel like has said this to you several times. He goes, Brian, I don't know if this is true, but they say, You do things earlier in the game to open it up for later in the game. He always defers to you on that. John, I just saw the text you sent us, and I feel like this is worth mentioning. It is 40-0 in Buffalo. The Bills are beating the Jets in the fourth quarter. Terod Taylor is playing quarterback for the Jets, which means Aaron Rodgers has found his seat on the bench. Not a great day for him. 12 of 18, 112 yards, 2 interceptions for number 8 in New York, as the Bills, who by all means are one of the best teams in the NFL, up 40-0. This noon slate is a disaster. Let me read you some of the scores from around the league. So Bills up on the Jets 40-0. The Jaguars.
By the way, Mitch Trubisky has thrown a touchdown pass. That's how bad it's gotten.
He's one of one, a 69-yard touchdown pass.
Mitchie 6 points is just spinning it right now.
And guess who caught that touchdown? That would be Tyrell Shavers. Does anybody know who that is?
No.
Yeah, exactly. That's how that game's
the guy
going.
that caught the touchdown pass from Trubisky.
There you go. That's what I've heard. Yeah, that's correct. 20 seconds left. Jaguars are beating the Titans 20-13, but the Titans have the ball in Jags territory, so apparently that one's coming down to the wire. Not so much the case in Tampa. The Buccaneers are up on the Panthers, keeping both their wild card and divisional hopes alive. 48-14. The Bucs lead that one, about 7.5 to go. Raiders up big on the Saints, 25-10. That's not a shutout like the Packers did, Raiders. 25-10 lead there. Tanner McKee has thrown another touchdown pass. 41-7 is the score in Philadelphia. The Eagles up on
Saquon, by the way, up over 2,000 yards now on the season.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
2005.
Offensive player of the year?
Yeah, he's over.
I imagine he'll win that because the quarterbacks, Lamar and Josh Allen, going down to the wire in the MVP race.
Correct.
The loser of that one might not get the consolation prize this year. Giants-Colts game, actually very interesting. Once again, still a 2-point game, but the score's gone up. 35-33. Giants lead with the ball, 6.5 minutes to play. And that is it for your noon slate right now. Some sexy games going on in the NFL.
Here's a question. Do the Eagles let Saquon try to break the record next week?
Yes.
I think he needs like
100 yards,
maybe a little
100 yards,
maybe a little less because there's 7 minutes left in this one, so they're going to let him keep eating on this one against this Dallas defense, I would imagine. Do they let him try to break it next week?
I would guess so.
I think they do.
And it also might come down to they might need to win. And the 1 seed could still be available for them, right? If Detroit loses tomorrow.
If Detroit and Minnesota both lose today, that opens it up, I believe.
Yeah, because I think with Philly would get it with a win then next week. And so
who do they play? Who do they play?
I believe they play the Commanders, but let me double check that.
The Eagles next week play the Giants.
Okay, I was wrong. Other divisional opponent.
They're definitely
letting him
get the record against his former team. That wraps that.
Oh, yeah, they're letting him break it. Never mind. That's for sure.
At some point, you're like, as bad as they finished last year, they want to have a good vibe going in. They're going to go hard, try to win. No. Are you kidding? He may come out with 3,000 yards at the end of the season.
The script writers did well here. I'll tell you what, man. That's great. That is great. Green Bay Game Day presented.
By the way, is it in New York? Is it in the Meadowlands?
No, it is not. It's in Philly.
Oh, okay. Well, almost had it right.
Still funny. Still funny regardless. Green Bay Game Day presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel, John Anderson, Super Bowl champion Bryan Bulaga counting you down to kickoff. Just about a half an hour away between Packers and Vikings at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. That game will be nationally televised on Fox. You get to hear what Tom Brady has to say today if you're listening to that one. We will get to our Gruber Law Office's one prediction for the upcoming game coming up next right here on Green Bay Game Day.
We're back with Green Bay Game Day after this on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Football season. Best time of the year and my favorite time of the year. This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. On game days, my favorite teammate is a cold carbless in my hand. Premium cocktails in a can made right here in the great state of Wisconsin. Maybe it's when I'm at the tailgate ahead of kickoff or getting ready at home for the game. Carbless is there. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Carbless features classic cocktails like margarita, Paloma, and even Moscow Mule, and vodka cocktail flavors like cranberry, lemon, and peach. Find it on your next grocery trip. Carbless. Less is more.
Ready to elevate your game? Whether you're into basketball, soccer, volleyball, or pickleball, OAW Indoor Sports Complex in New Berlin has it all. Rent our state-of-the-art turf fields and hard courts, perfect for teams, birthday parties, or corporate events. Looking to improve your swing? Check out our advanced golf simulators. And parents, don't miss our summer camps and toddler play zones for endless fun. Visit OAWindoor.com to book your spot today. OAW Indoor Sports Complex, where champions train and memories are made.
Ready for a win? Well, it's your year. At Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, you could win over $2,000 in free play every month all year long. Just play your favorite games and you might take the stage in the It's Your Year game show. 25 winners each Thursday. There's $300,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs this January. Yeah, we think it's your year. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old to play.
Football fans, get ready to elevate your game day experience. Milwaukee Broadhouse downtown has the ultimate package for stress-free fun this football season. With rides starting at $85 per person, hop on their round-trip buses from Milwaukee Broadhouse downtown for every green and gold home game. Enjoy all you can drink on the ride and a private restroom. Want even more? Upgrade your ticket and add on an all-you-can-eat and drink tailgate package for an additional $30. Spots are filling up fast. Book today at MilwaukeeBroadhouse.com. Milwaukee Broadhouse, located on MLK Drive downtown.
Homer here. I'm inviting you to join me starting August the 9th as we explore the many shades of Ireland with Colette Vacations, a 10-day journey filled with legendary views, historic expeditions, and unforgettable tales. Explore the historic city of Dublin, kiss the famous Blarney Stone, and stand on the spectacular cliffs of Moher. We'll also journey Ireland's breathtaking countryside and follow the stunning coastal route of the Ring of Kerry. We'll experience the daily life of an Irish family with a dairy farm. Visit and enjoy a taste or two or three at a historic whiskey distillery, and we'll even stay overnight in a medieval castle. Join me for all of these experiences and so many more. Colette handles all the details of the 10-day excursion, flights, the meals, the hotels, the experiences. Don't worry about it. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss out. Meet the wonderful Colette team and me on Sunday, February the 2nd to find out all the details, or text Homer to ESPN Milwaukee's talk and text line for full details. That's Homer to 800-990-3776.
Experience the excellence of Catholic Memorial High School for yourself. Come see why their students gain a competitive edge at CMH. Visit CatholicMemorial.net to schedule a VIP tour or student shadow day. Meet their inspiring teachers, welcoming students, and feel the energy of the CMH culture. All students achieve more than they ever imagined possible. Visit CatholicMemorial.net to schedule your visit. That's CatholicMemorial.net. Catholic Memorial High School in Waukesha, where you rise.
Are you looking for reliable transportation this holiday season? I've got you covered. It's Jen Latta from ESPN Milwaukee, and with holiday parties, family gatherings, and year-end events on the horizon, I trust AccuTrans Group to handle all of my private transportation needs. Whether it's a corporate function or festive celebration, AccuTrans gets me there safely and on time. As a veteran-owned business, they pride themselves on top-notch service that you can count on. Booking is easy, stress-free, and reliable. Just visit AccuTransGroup.com to reserve your holiday ride today. That's AccuTransGroup.com.
This is Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Yeah, Green Bay Game Day, half an hour away from kickoff. Packers-Vikings is America's game of the week. Both teams have clinched their playoff spots, but still some implications. Packers, don't know what seed they're going to be. With a win, that could change. With a loss, that could change. The Vikings are still in the NFC North race. Now, if they were to lose to the Packers today, they need the Niners to beat the Lions tomorrow on Monday Night Football, making next week's matchup between the Vikings and the Lions a win, and you win the NFC North game. So we likely know the teams. We just don't know the seedings quite yet, but this game will certainly, and tomorrow's game between the Niners and the Lions will certainly give us some clarity into the NFC playoff picture just a couple of weeks away. It's time now to do our Gruber Law Office's one call, which means each of us are going to make one prediction of something that will happen in today's game between the Packers and the Vikings. According to the scoreboard that nobody has kept track of, I think Bryan Bulaga is in first place, John Anderson is in second place, Gabe Neitzel is in third place, and I'm in last place.
Sounds good.
I think we would all agree with that. Yep. Okay, great.
Yep, nailed it. That's it. Yep, got it.
Okay, great. Grubel Offices has a reputation for winning. Their experienced and powerful team works tirelessly to help people and families seriously injured in accidents by providing the best care and service. There is never a fee until your case is won. Grubel Offices has been serving the people and state of Wisconsin for over 35 years. Grubel Offices, one call. That's all. Let's just work our way down the leaderboard. We'll start at first place. Bryan Bulaga, you're up.
Yeah, well, lots of things that could happen in this game because I think there's a lot that could happen offensively, defensively, special teams. You know, there's a lot of different options that you could take a stab at. And I'm going to go with one of the receivers and who I think is going to have a big day. And then we kind of talked about it in the betting. I'm going to go with Dobbs, 2 touchdown catches. 2 touchdown catches for Dobbs today. That is my one call. I think he's going to be the target. He's going to be the guy today. 2 TDs.
You stole mine. Thanks. Go ahead, John.
Sorry.
I just want to make sure I'm clear, though. It's one call and that's all?
One call, that's all.
That's it, just one call and that's all. Okay, so I was gonna go with the low-hanging fruit, which is Josh Jacobs will carry it more than 9 times.
Okay.
So I'm going to go, but that seems to be like a 6-inch putt. So I will try. I'll move back a little further. By the way, Gabe, what club are you representing today?
I don't have any of the just a row back vest. No,
you got a little swinger on it. You got a little.
No,
swinger
yeah,
on the
no, nothing.
All right. Okay, didn't know. Thought maybe it was Thought maybe it's Pine Valley or something.
If you know someone, let me know.
Yeah. I don't know that anybody knows that. Anybody at that point that can fully admit it. I'm going to go all in with Reed. He's going to be the guy that actually not only catches a bunch, he's going to go over 100 yards. Reed will have more combined yards from scrimmage than anybody else on the ball club today. And 100 and that'll be receiving.
I mean, I'm a huge Jaden Reed guy. I hope you're right. I hope everybody's right, but. Yeah, that's bold. I like it, John. Well done.
I'm going Josh Jacobs, 2 or more touchdowns. I think he's just such a big part of this team. When it's all said and done, he is going to have one of the 5 best seasons a running back has had in the history of the Green Bay Packers, which is pretty crazy to say out loud. In terms of his rushing yards, when you start factoring in touchdowns, what he's been able to do that way, his total touches, like he's on pace to have the most touches since Ahman Green had 405 back in 2003. I think he's going to have, if the Packers win today, yes, Jordan Love has to play his part, but Josh Jacobs also has to still continue the run that he's been on. 2 or more touchdowns for Jacobs.
Like it. I'm going to go with 2 calls, that's all, John, as long as you approve.
Nope, it's 1 call, that's all. I've seen the promos.
Oh, that's right. 414-404-7694. That is the number for Gruber Law Offices. 1 call, that's all. 414-404-7694. Okay, just 1 call then. I will go with the defense. I think the defense going to make some people believers today. I will say 4 sacks by 4 different individuals today on Sam Darnold. I think the pass rush has turned the corner at least a little bit. 4 sacks is a big number. I think they get there today. I'm becoming a believer in this Jeff Hafley defense. It's seen again. I get it's a bad teams the last couple weeks, but man, do they look like they're cooking and peaking at the right time. And I so desperately want to believe in a Packers defense. So that's where I'm going with my prediction. 4 sacks, 4 different players today for the Packers defense. Am I crazy?
It feels like you're trying to force your belief into the Packers defense. It feels like you're like, oh, I want to believe, so I'm going to pretend like I actually do believe when I don't know if you actually believe.
Well, I saw Brian smile when I said that, and he's the smartest guy by a mile on this planet. Or on this panel, rather. On the planet and this panel.
No.
Didn't realize that's what the University of Iowa was handing out down there.
Yeah, well, he won the big award last year. Smartest man on the planet was the award, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's what it was you were honored for?
Nah, just a bit outside.
Tried the corner and missed.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Thanks, Uke. We wrap up the show. Final thoughts, final picks. I'm not worried. What the hell's going on today? I feel really
you're
good.
Not like you.
No.
What time did you start drinking?
I've got about 25 minutes until that starts, John, but don't worry. I'll be bellied up at the tavern where I am 2-0 this year, might I add. The tavern that I've been watching games at. All right, final thoughts coming up next. It's Green Bay Game Day.
That makes a difference.
Hey, this sweatshirt. The opponents have scored 0 points since my girlfriend gave me this for a Christmas gift last week. Just saying, might be lucky. We wrap up Green Bay Game Day after this.
Stay right here. Green Bay Game Day will be right back on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right. And naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
It started with a prediction.
Gonna go out there and play basketball and win. And how many games? 6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority with the latest technologies at their state-of-the-art Brookfield office. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. And now, Holtebeck Eye Center is excited to add Dr. Nausheen Abbas to their team. Dr. Abbas is an ophthalmologist and cornea specialist that is now available to see patients. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol, learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Winter is here. Don't let your car care take a backseat. Protect your car against rust, salt, and grime this season at Tsunami Express Car Wash. Tsunami Express makes cleanup a breeze with their state-of-the-art wash technology, powerful free vacuums, and convenient unlimited wash memberships. Try their new best-in-class T2 with graphene wash for the ultimate long-lasting shine and protection. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat. Try your first wash free when you sign up online at TsunamiExpress.com.
Looking for a totally rad flavor adventure, brochachos? Look no further than Surfer Boy Pizza as seen in Stranger Things. Each mouth-watering variety contains rich tomato sauce, delicious mozzarella cheese, and a gnarly range of toppings. The crust is crispy on the outside and airy on the inside. You'll think it was hand-tossed by the Surfer Boy Pizza dudes themselves. Look for it in the freezer aisle at your local store and buckle up your taste buds with Surfer Boy Pizza.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. It's simple. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. And again, you can win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Welcome back to Green Bay Game Day, presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
We've got drums to bang. We've got games to win. It's Green Bay Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel, John Anderson, Super Bowl champion Bryan Bulaga with you for a few more minutes. Our guys, Max Meyerson and Evan Witalison, running the show for us this afternoon as we're with you until kickoff here in about 20 minutes. It's Packers-Vikings. Packers are 1-point favorites on the road today. Man, as John said before the last break, man, I'm not feeling like myself today. I've got like an absurd amount of confidence for the Packers going on the road facing a good team who smoked them earlier in the year despite what the final score says.
I'm worried.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like the fact that Strouf is feeling good, like I don't know if I should be feeling
Hey,
good.
John, remember, nothing we say has an effect on the game. Remember? A wise man once said that earlier in the program.
Or where we sit. That's like Blue. Did you ever come out of the huddle and go, "Oh, shit, we must be doing something terrible. My wife has switched seats." Like, no. Guys, we're on our way. I just see that. The wife has just moved over one section. We're going to be good from here on out. It's no problem. Aaron, cut it loose.
I was never concerned when, I'd have to, or even go on, maybe a radio show or two early on throughout the week. And, I'd ever hear someone, like I said, knock on wood, let's hope this goes well. And I'd look like, listen, man, you knocking on wood probably won't impact the game this week. Probably won't do it. But hey, if
just in case.
If you knocking on wood helps me block that defensive end, please knock on wood.
I'll take it.
I'll take whatever you got for me.
Blue, did you have any superstitions as a player? Did you have like Matt Hamilton, the Olympic curler we have on ESPN Madison? He has like a lime green beanie, and he had it in his back pocket when they won the gold medal in 2018. He wore it in every curling match he had. So I'm curious if you have any superstitions or had any as a player.
Not really a superstition, but just more like a routine. Like
Sure.
On the road there was a routine, at home there was a routine, and I didn't really like stray from it. I did the same thing every home game. I arrived at the same time every home game, and I just kind of stuck by that. Like arrive at home games probably like 4.5 hours before, right to the hot tub, right into the training room, and just like how I did everything. I always put. I'd get to the stadium, put the pads in the pants right away, get everything set up in the locker, hot tub, and warm up, do everything so early. I couldn't stand the thought of being late, so I was always just a very, very detailed of when I would show up and the timing of everything. And I don't know if it's superstition, but once you set a routine for yourself, you just kind of go with it. I didn't have a lucky pair of socks or gloves or anything like that, or shoes. It just kind of go out there with what you got and play. But the routine of how you got to that point was key for me.
Very, very regimented. All right, let's get into our game picks. No superstition here. Gabe, I want to start with you. I'm curious what you think.
I think the Packers are going to squeak out a tight one here. I think they ultimately win by that 1 point that they're favored by.
Wow.
I think it's just going to be a back-and-forth game. These are two evenly matched games. Blue said it right away when we started the show. What the Packers do well? Oh, they run the football well. Well, what do the Vikings do well? Well, they stop the run really well. So I think that's going to be interesting to kind of keep an eye on. And clearly the way that Minnesota might be able to take advantage of the Packers secondary is an interesting matchup to follow on the other side. These are two equally matched teams with two quarterbacks who are playing equally as well over the last 6 weeks. But I think the Packers get that big win on the road to kind of keep that momentum rolling toward the postseason.
Who's the X factor for you, Jacobs?
No, I mean, if we're talking X factor, I think it's somebody in the secondary coming up with a big play, big turnover. That's what could very well decide the game, because both these secondaries have been really good at getting interceptions, and both these quarterbacks have been turnover averse the last 6 weeks. Each just has one interception.
Yeah, if one of these guys throws a pick, that could be the difference in a game this tight. John Anderson, how you feeling?
I'm looking. It seems like everybody who wins is scoring 40 points today.
Yeah, absurd.
I guess that's what it's going to take. I do think if the Vikings get to 28, they win. So that's what worries me. I think of the Vikings. So I'm going to keep them at 27 and thus leave the door open. And I'm going to put the Packers streak of 30 straight 30-point games, moving it to 6. I'm going to go 31-27.
Nice.
With the Packers. And I don't know if that's got more wish than conviction behind it. But I just feel like they are, in this case, the more desperate squad, because neither one of them really need the game. I get there's something sort of bigger to play for in seeds, but in terms of who really needs to kind of show something, I feel like I'll take the Packers as a bit more desperate in that situation, and I think that's going to be worth the 4 points.
Just for context on that 30-plus point streak, it's ridiculous. They have scored 30-plus points in 5 straight games. That is the longest streak in franchise history since 1963. 1963, that's 61 years ago, when they did it 7 games in a row.
That team was good, by the way, the 63 team.
I'm going to take your word for it.
It was Lombardi. It was the middle of Lombardi era. Of course they were good.
That was all the guys back in the day.
30 years before I was born. It was before the Super Bowl era.
Prior
to the Ice Bowl.
When Lombardi coached, right? That's all you need to know.
That's all I need to know. Yep, that would be right. They did it 7 games in a row back in 63. 5 games right now, second longest streak in franchise history. I know Bulaga and I are both picking wins, but I want to hear how it goes down in the brain of Bryan Bulaga, the Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Not that it's like defense is optional. I just think offenses are going to play well, and I think I think the defenses are going to make plays, and I think it's going to be, it's going to be one of those games where like who gets the ball last, and I think Green Bay, I am hoping gets the ball last. That's how I'm picking it. So I'm picking it 31-34 Green Bay.
Wow. So we all have a very, very tight game.
I don't know, the way you're talking, I thought maybe you thought they'd blow them out, shut them out the way they did last week.
34-0.
You got all this confidence in the world over there.
Yeah, just like Monday night, they're gonna win by scoring over 30. They're gonna shut them out. They're gonna have over 400 all-purpose yards. Yeah, that's no. I do think they win by a touchdown, though. I will take the Packers 31-24. I think that streak stays alive. It's a fast start, unlike when they played Minnesota back in late September. And I don't know, man. Whatever has happened to me the last few weeks, I love it. So I just kind of hope they keep it rolling because, look, Minnesota's a good team. Seattle, meh. New Orleans, awful. I get it. A win today would send me into full-blown Delulu mode. And I would talk myself into thinking, okay, if they can do it here, they can win at Minnesota and win convincingly. There's a chance they can do that 3 weeks in a row in the postseason. They have the experience.
Hell of a sweatshirt you're wearing.
What's that?
That is one hell of a sweatshirt you're wearing.
I know, right? You'll be happy to learn, John. 2 weeks ago when we previewed the Seattle game, Gabe Neitzel was wearing this sweatshirt. A week later, my girlfriend hands me the gift, and she says, because I went to the Packer game on Monday, she says, you're going to want this ahead of the Saints game. I opened it, and she said, I was watching the pregame show, and I said, oh, bleep, when I saw Gabe Neitzel was wearing it. But it was already wrapped under the tree, so nothing I can do about it. So I'm going to wear this every pregame show through the end of the year in hopes that Gabe will eventually also wear it.
Are you sure? Gabe, have you checked your drawers in your closet? Do you still have it?
That's what I need to do. I need to go into the closet and see if it's still there.
Still in your possession. So anyway, I'm going to pick the Packers 31-24 today. Too optimistic? Everybody's picking a really close game.
No, 31-24 is still a tight game.
That's still a tight game.
Yeah, that's still going to, that's still going to have some moments in the fourth quarter where you're holding your breath.
Is it weird that I want that? Holding. Of course, I want a stress-free watch, right? If they go out and win 45-10, great, right? I mean, that's very convincing. But I want a back-and-forth game. I want one where I'm holding my breath. I want the Packers to win a little bit of a nail-biter on the road, just to say, hey, Stroufy, hey, the artist formerly almost known as Samantha Strouf, we can do it, man.
I guess maybe I'm different, where I've always wanted my team to win by as much as possible.
Well,
yes. I guess that's just me, though. I've never gone in going, I'm just thinking that's
probably not going to be the case today.
Look, I understand it's not always going to be the case, but that's what I'm always rooting for.
Okay. Now you're making me feel bad.
Always remember, nobody wants the best team to win. They want their team to win.
That's correct.
That's the only rule that's true in sports.
And we are unanimous on the panel thinking our team will win today, which is good.
Does anybody want to pick the Missouri-Iowa game tomorrow in the whatever Music City Bowl or whatever the hell?
Is that where they are? Memphis?
Memphis? That's you and Blue. You guys should break down that game.
The last time we played them in a bowl game, they throttled us.
Yeah, I don't know enough about Missouri to even take a guess on that game. I don't know enough about them. I see they're ranked 19. And Iowa's not ranked, so like that kind of worries me a little bit right off the jump.
Missouri only favored by 2.5, though. You guys want to place a little friendly wager on this? John Anderson, the proud Mizzou alum.
I'm proud, but I'm not proud with that kind. The university has gotten all my money when I had to go here in donations or in tuition. So
well, the good news is they're paying
I love
you
my
now.
squad, but I've seen the Hawkeyes just thump people. Every time I've seen them play, they've thumped us. They beat Blaine Gabbert in whatever we're out in Phoenix one time. It's just not going to go well. Ever since we canceled a home and home with them because they were too good and our new coach didn't want to play them, it's gone bad. That literally happened, and now they won't play at anything. So every time, Ferentz is just go, hey, remember, these are the guys that ducked us 10 years ago because they were not good enough. So, yeah, that still haunts us.
Hey, to keep up with the spirit, you're ducking the idea of a friendly wager between the two of you. So
right, why would I want a part of that?
Honestly, no judgment from me.
He already won a bet and's got the Ryder Cup. So who's going to contend with that guy?
It's a 1:30 p.m. Monday afternoon kickoff between Iowa and Missouri in the Trans Perfect Music City Bowl.
Nothing screams, what a great game, like mid-afternoon
on a Monday.
Super relevant.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. Well, this one is super relevant between the Packers and the Vikings. 3:25, which is just a few minutes away on Fox, America's Game of the Week. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady will have the TV call. We all feel good. We are unanimous on this panel with a Packers win on the road in Minnesota, which means we will all have good juju heading into Week 18 and the postseason, because they will have proven to us they can go into a playoff environment and win, which is the main point, right? That's what we're all looking for today. Get on the road against a playoff team and win. That's all we need, right?
Do damage.
Yep.
What John said.
Good.
Do damage.
Yeah.
I think we did damage today, fellas.
We did something.
We did something today. I feel pretty good about what we did today. I hope I also feel that way about what the Packers do. That will do it for us on Green Bay Game Day, presented by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Typically, it's following the final whistle. It's really up to Tausch. Whenever he says the game is over, that's when the postgame show starts now, which I love. It's my new favorite bit. So when you think the game is probably over, that's when you should turn your radio to 94.5, 620 AM, 103.3 FM, or 100.5 FM in Madison for Green Bay Game Night with Homer, Tausch, Gary Ellerson, and Jason Wilde. We are back with you ahead of Packers-Bears next week. I can't tell you when because we don't know when the game is yet.
Can't even tell you what day.
It could be Saturday, could be Sunday, could be 3 o'clock, could be noon. We'll find out. We're just 3 hours before kickoff, Packers-Bears for our final Green Bay Game Day of the regular season. John, Brian, we will talk to you fellas in the playoffs. Enjoy the remainder of the regular season, and thanks for all the hard work. Appreciate you, fellas.
See you guys.
All right, guys.
That's John Anderson and the Super Bowl champion, Bryan Bulaga. Gabriel, good work today. Max Meyerson, good work today. Evan Witalison, good work today. That does it for us. It's Green Bay Game Day right here on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Gift giving is easy with an Island Resort and Casino gift card. Every person on your list